System. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m. only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
2564 is coming up on Barney 9, right?
The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
The 2564 is coming up on Barney 9, right?
The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
On Edu Dialogue, we bring you fresh ideas and conversations, shaping the future of learning in Nigeria and beyond.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide.
Well, good morning once again. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Newspaper Review. I'm Moses Humphrey.
And I am Chukuma Okoro. Thanks for joining us again.
And we have Elvis Alimehele join the conversation. Good morning to you once again. Thank you very much for staying
Thank you.
And Barrister Darlington Agumo also joins the conversation this morning. Good morning to you, Barrister.
My pleasure, Moses and Okoro.
All right. I like the way he says that. Okoro. Now let's dive into it. The Guardian has these headlines. KPMG chiefs, NRS meet to address errors in new tax laws. Obi faults Tinubu'S UAE trip, says Nigeria can't be governed from abroad. Gunmen kidnap 8, demand 100 million naira ransom in Edo. And then the big story on the cover page of the Guardian, APC stakeholders wading to Rivers crisis, impeachment plot. Other headlines here, new Abu Jaleh to emerge next month as Kingmakers screen 86 nominees. What is it? Bandits kill 2, abduct several at Katsina wedding as government clarifies swap deal. It's the same Katsina state where about, is it 80 something of them or 70 of them, of these bandits whom are known as terrorists, basically.
Who are undergoing trial.
Released by the state.
Who are undergoing
by
trial.
the state. And here they are. They haven't even been fully released. Their men are already attacking people. Elvis, please.
Yeah, it's a shame that we keep pacifying and these bandits. We saw what happened between Israel and Gaza recently, even as it's still going on. That's how a criminal or an enemy should be treated. This one that we now pat them at the back and say, oh, we are giving you amnesty, oh, come back and rehabilitate you, while their victims are languishing in IDP camps. Nobody is talking about them. No, the government is pacifying the terrorists, not sending them to schools and making them look as if they never committed any crime. I don't know why we encourage this kind of thing in this part of the world. Go to Benue State and see how people who were living a normal life before drove into IDP camp and now they are languishing there, waiting for government palliative. Then you remove all these guys who have been doing all this one and say, no, you don't have any case any longer. You are now free. Come and be enjoying the lagues of what you have caused on people. I don't know. I think these policies must be changed. And even the policy has started destabilizing the Nigerian army. Most of these ones are the informer that makes most of the operational plans of Nigerian army to fail. Because they come out and pretend that they are no more in their fold and release whatever plans that is ongoing between Nigerian army and the insurgents to them. So as they move towards it, you hear ambush. Nigerian army ambush. The terrorists ambush the Nigerian army, and you hear death. I don't know. I don't think this is one part of the policies that this government must encourage.
The day Nigerians woke up, because I remember what happened somewhere in Anambra in the 70s. Some group of boys held on a market, especially to ransom. They wouldn't want traders to buy and sell. They will let them collect their money by force and all that. But one day, some brave boys in that market rose up after monitoring these people, where they live and everything. And they shouted, boys, oh yeah. Moses. Oh God Almighty. Look, when you have not confronted these people with force, I mean a force that will match them, they will know that people are here. You see all this pampering, it is our fault. We have not risen up. I can tell you how my people behave. It's just that government always interfere. This boys so here ended up that rascality in Anambra. These guys ran away without shoe, without slippers on their feet. When the heat that is instant judgment. Their houses were burned. They were instantly, no mercy, no police.
That's how it's supposed to be.
They sanitized the place within 24 hours.
That's how it's supposed to be.
How about Otokoto in Owerri? Otokoto. This man had been acting since the same 70s. Killing people, ritual and all that. But that day, on the 23rd of November 1996, my people did what they are known for. Brave men. Owerri was in fact, you thought that a civil war was going on. All of them, they left town in a hurry. Their property, their supermarket, everything burned down. Since that day, have you heard any noise again? Please tell me, anybody listening to me, that is how things are done. All this thing that we are doing here, these people, they are dragging us back. Mr. Okodo, these people, they are taking us back. I'm not joking. In the next 50 years, this thing will be with us if we are not careful.
Yeah, because some people are benefiting from it. That's why they are encouraging it.
They know it is their people. They have sympathy for them. I was telling the man you brought here yesterday. He said, what you do? It is a fact. Both the military, both their religious leader, all of them,
politicians,
they have sympathy for these terrorists. So how will it end?
It will not end.
And they are in authority. It got so bad that some elder statesmen had to sue Buhari for being the arrowhead of terrorism in Nigeria. Look at a man at that height, sponsoring terrorism. Please tell me. And we are saying all this in every time. People don't want to listen. Except to the people who wake up one day and say, look, let us finish here. Like that woman in the Bible. If I die, let me die. Except you do it like that. Forget this thing we are saying. I'm not. They still believe that you're a coward. You can't
this postulation of rehabilitating them now and sending them. This is Gumi's postulation, and the government just bought into it. This says Sheikh Gumi that even the head of the headquarter of Islamic religion in the world, I banned him from coming in. I'm talking about Saudi Arabia. Nigeria is pacifying him. Nigeria is painting him as. Why will Nigeria government begin to buy into?
You think he was speaking the mind of government? He was speaking what has been already agreed upon.
No, if he was not speaking the mind of government, we would have seen the government go the other way. If the government is not doing the bidding of what he is speaking along with, it's already agreed upon. He's saying that these people should not be, they should be rehabilitated and brought into the society. Why would the government encourage such?
You know why he's talking? His people are at the helm of affairs. And nobody can touch him. That is just whenever they want to take over a place. That's what the first thing.
Yes, Barrister, I like your position.
Yeah, there are people are in the helm of authority. So even if you want to say a word, they say no, don't go there.
Don't go there. So, and I can't agree less with your position.
That is it.
You and LV. But I would like to amplify that position also to say that look, I think within the mix of all these what they call banditry, what they call kidnapping, and what they call
terrorism.
No, terrorism itself. At the back of all of this thing, it's something that is called insurgency. You know, in another form. You know, it presents a different kind of proposition, which is actual takeover. It's actual takeover of land. And they use every tool possible, you know, to achieve that. Every tool possible, be it religion, be it government, be it terrorism or whatever. I think the end game, you know, is to overrun the country called Nigeria, and eventually, if they are not able to Islamize it in practice, it's already there in principle. You know, we belong to members of OIC, we belong to Sukuk, we belong to other organizations, that are clearly Muslim or Islamic dominated. So that is the end game. And you discover that when we have a government like the government of Jonathan, that said, okay, let's face the onslaught, and take these people out. It was the same people like Buhari, who are the
preaching against it.
People like Buhari, Abubakar Galadima, people like Nasiru El-Rufai, ultra-Islamists who said, look, they don't want any form of compromise. They don't want to live with other people. They want the space to be dominated by them. These are the people that said they put pressure on ignorant and innocent Jonathan to remove Ihe in a manner of appeasement, just to appease them, thinking that they will grant him a second term, which didn't happen. And mistakenly too, and ignorantly again, he started building Almajiri schools.
And they told him they don't want schools.
They don't want it because that is what they use. That is what they use to use their people.
Yes.
So trying to build Almajiri schools meant that he wanted to
open their eyes
to control. Open their eyes, and they don't want that.
Those schools have been closed down.
There's a video that trended 2 weeks ago, and Peter Obi was in Indonesia, and he went to Indonesia with a couple of people, including Muslims, and he asked when they went to the government, to the Prime Minister's place, I said, Mr. Prime Minister, Indonesia has the highest number of Muslims in the world. The largest Islamic community country is Indonesia. And he says, you people, this zakat and giving alms and all of that, I don't see people in the streets begging. So why is it that you don't have them? And the Prime Minister said, oh, because we give alms, but you don't give necessarily to poor people, because people are in the factories working. But here we create it as a norm that people must stay in the streets to beg. And we now tie it to religion to say, look, this is what our religion says. And until there's something I call the South has been paying and will continue to pay the supreme price of silence if we don't wait at this moment to say, look, enough of this. You can point to countries, Spain, Turkey. You can point to other countries that were predominantly Christian states.
And are taking over.
Yes.
And their own form of evangelism, Lebanon, their own form of evangelism is militant evangelism. At some point in history, we had that kind of militant evangelism in Christendom during the Inquisition and all of that. If you are not Catholic, they will kill you and roast you. In Spain, even in Latin America, it all happened. But at a point, Christendom gave away, that mode of evangelism, and now adopted the peaceful means of evangelism. But the the Islamic religion, has continued with that form of militant evangelism. And that is what they are using to expand. If you go to UK now, the average Englishman in UK is threatened because we have taken over the place. When you have mayors of some boroughs in UK that are not Muslims.
And that is the idea. You give them a space. Then they take the whole place.
All right, let's move on to another headline.
The headline concerning 100 million for...
Look, the Christian leadership, put on your thinking cap. Because these guys are not letting go. They are serious about what they are pursuing. You Christian leaders, the Father Cooker and all of you, read the handwriting on the wall. Because when they take over your members, who will not become your member? You are not thinking along that line, Abi.
Unfortunately for that matter.
When they take over your members, who will not be your member?
Those that refuse to succumb are
I don't know when people are so docile about their rights. Why must these people continue to threaten it as if they have the monopoly of violence? And we just keep quiet. All the way from the Sahel, not even from Nigeria. And you say we are one Nigeria. Continue to deceive yourself that you are one Nigeria.
All right, let's move on to
something about 100 million ransom for kidnapping. Yes.
I've not collected it before.
Let me get back to that story.
There's now 70 million. But they have collected 100 before.
Gunmen kidnap eight, demand 100 million ransom in Edo State.
Yeah, Moses, I'm interested in that. In Edo State, because Edo State have been trending now for some time in this insecurity matter. I want to use this opportunity to call on our governor, Senator Monday Okpebholo, to please wake up and trash out this insecurity problem in Edo State. Because we never had it like this. When the former governor was going, Godwin Obaseki, there were some structures that were on ground. Even if you want to hijack a state, don't play politics with people's life. Those structures were working. There was a security network that was working perfectly. There was this command and control center that was built by Obaseki that is regarded as world class. Where are those today on ground? IG came because they want to snatch Edo State from PDP. IG came and dismantled the Edo State Vigilante Group. Then said, and from after that, the governor, after his swearing in, abandoned the command and control center that at least was monitoring most part of Edo State. But look at what is happening. My town has been under siege now for some days. Exactly. No school is going on in the whole of Eastern Central. Edo Central has 5 local governments. As we speak now, school resumed in Edo State yesterday. The whole of Edo Central are still at home because of insecurity. 5 local governments. The Ambrosali University in my town is under lock and key now. Students are going back home. Those that were writing exams have been stopped abruptly. Those are on holiday, circulars have been sent to them that no schools have been closed down indefinitely. My son was showing me the circular sent from the school 3 days ago that we are not going back to school immediately. This is what is going on. I said I'm aware of what is going on. So a situation of this nature, how many people can afford 100 million in Edo State for ransom? Yeah. I mean, a state that is predominantly civil servant state and peasant farmers.
Probably the government will pay. Government, I was coming to that. Probably the government will pay.
If the government pays, it's encouraging the insecurity. So the governor must wake up. This one that he visited Ekpoma and he was saying there are strategies put in place. These strategies that he has put in place, let them be working. He has stayed there now for over a year. Let us see that Edo people can go over there.
You have forgotten what this man told you, that he will provide you insecurity.
Yeah, he says so.
He said so. People say he was a misstep. What is going on now? You said something and the thing is happening.
That's why they say West are powerful. West are powerful. That's what is going on now.
This was the same governor who ran to Kano to plead with them when some of their men were killed. Now that they are killing Edo people, who came to Ekpoma to come and plead that or are they not aware of the people behind this killing and kidnapping? They don't know them. I mean, they have not identified them. They came from somewhere. What happened to the governor of their state to come to Edo State to come and plead? You see, when I tell you that over here, some of us are mumu. I'm not. The leaders you have.
Our leaders are selling us out.
They are mumu.
They are selling us out. That's
who have come to Edo State now to plead with the governor?
Nobody.
People, you know where they came from. They came from a place in the north. You know.
The most anointing Moses. The governor cannot secure the state. Students went on protest. These students are herded into the prison now.
Can you just imagine?
There are 52 of them arrested from their hostel because the government could not protect them. Constitutionally, it is the responsibility of the government to protect them. The government could not protect them. They now protested that this is not good. Yeah. Let this thing be stopped. Yesterday, they were ordered into the prison. 52. Picked from their hostels.
You can imagine.
So, I mean, how will not react? Government is not protecting you. You cannot even speak and tell the government, this is what we are going through. But that same government was able to run down to Kano to go and start pleading. That same governor ran down to Kano. Now, SOS, I'm using this opportunity to send an SOS message to our governor. He should wake up and save Edo people. We need to be delivered.
They want to use them to complete their agenda. They will even use you to Islamize you. Whether you like, that's the trend. Maybe they will give you peanuts. They will give you some, little things, and you say they are yes, and then they will now invade your states and take it over. That is the trick they are playing on these people. Yet they cannot think. They don't know what is going on. How can you tell me that for you to do your business, you need the whole forest in Nigeria? The whole forest, you are all over the place. What kind of business is that?
They are the only ones that are hunters now.
I'm telling you.
Hunting in all the forests in Nigeria.
You export hunters to Imo State, to River State, to Edo State. All these tricks.
But they have a bigger forest and bigger forest. Can't they go there and hunt?
Veggie forest that nobody have entered in the last 500 years. Where you see these big games, big animals. Because that's where they roam, in a very big forest, thick forest.
They abandon their own.
They abandon their own.
Come and start fomenting trouble in other people's states.
With the dot in a circle here. In fact, it's very annoying. We don't have leaders here, seriously. They are the ones selling out. How can I go and form a vigilante to protect myself from you? Who are you? I won't even allow. Look, I will go all out for you. What are you? Why are you terrorizing me in my own home? Why? And then police and army will come and protect you.
Protect and start
shooting. And when we say that they are involved in this, people will say, why should you say that?
Just one-sided judgment. Students that are in school are not being picked up in their hostels.
Look, whether you like it or not,
the charges against them yesterday were really robbery. Children who went to protest are not being charged for robbery.
And you are telling me that these people, their men are on top of all the hierarchy of offices.
They can't go to lectures.
That is where
because of insecurity.
Issuing this.
They can't stay in their hostel. They are being picked in their hostel. They are being picked on their way to lectures.
When I tell you that the military and even the police are complicit in this matter, they are taking
100%.
Side. They are taking side. The evidence are there. Who are protecting these people?
Traditional rulers. They are not sincere.
From what they are doing, who are protecting them? Because for you to have that impunity, that arrogance, that boldness, that means you have a godfather behind you. Whenever some of them are arrested, the police and army will come immediately and pack them. And before you know it, they will be set free. Tomorrow they will go back again and start disturbing the same villagers. Why should that happen? Why?
We are no longer talking of the villages in the north now. We are not talking of villages in the south. It's this that's now brought into the southern part of Nigeria.
In fact, it's very trickish. Then when you want to go, the north will say, after all, we have been living with insecurity. We are they are with the worst seat. It is what they are using to deceive you. They know what they are doing. By the time these jihadists and these people they call bandits or whatever, by the time they take over a place, their leaders will now come and administer the place and create emirate council. The moment they create emirate council in your zone, you are over. They are taking you over. In Kwara State, you have 16 local government. Out of that 16 local government, the Fulanis have only 4. It is from those 4 that the emir come from. From time immemorial. Those 4 local government controlling the other 12. It is from there that the emir is selected. Meanwhile, this is a Yoruba land. A Yoruba land. Go and look at the map of the Great Oyo Empire. Look, we are not serious here, seriously. What is wrong if we decide and tell these people, no, this nonsense, rise up one day, all of us. 1, 2, 3 million people gather and say, look, we are not longer taking the problem. Go back to your place. Let us have peace. But you will not do it. It is them that will tell you will not rear pig in our region. You will not
drink beer.
You will not drink beer. You will not wear trousers. Dictating for you. But here they can come and do whatever they like. You left it and you are pushing politics.
Well, it's the onus really is on our leaders and the people themselves to hold their leaders
accountable at all times.
Their safety is, the responsibility of government to protect lives and property is upheld. Well, let's move on to another story now. This might also offend you, but we'll get around it. Presidency to spend 1.98 billion naira on fueling generators this year.
Moses, what do you want me to say about that? He has said if he doesn't give us electricity in his first tenure, we should not vote him in the next tenure.
I would like to
we should stone him and not vote for him. So now they are spending how much there? That means, and he has less than 1 year. He has less than 1 year.
That's beside the 7-point-something billion naira
power grid
for mini power grid.
So that means yes. That means he has failed.
And that also is beside the 10 billion last year used in installing the solar grid.
Yes. Now that means he has failed. Meanwhile, then we should not be talking of voting for him in 2020.
Meanwhile, Disco's record 92.93 billion naira shortfall in October as collection efficiency wanes.
Why won't collection efficiency wane? Because power output is also waning.
This is waning. We see collapse.
You see some parts of the country. You see some parts of the country where
is it not when you have light
that you pay? When we are witnessing grid collapse all the time, where will it not wait?
That's
partial disturbance.
And that also boils down to the fact that
what Nigerians do. You know, there was a certain community in Enugu State, certain locality, and they didn't have light for like 3 months. That transformer went bad. But naturally or normally, in Nigeria, their bills.
Of course,
so they restored lights today, like on a Tuesday, and Thursday they came for
with their ladder
to collect this thing, and the youths gathered and chased them away.
Yeah.
Some of them,
Well, that's against the law now.
to chase them, Abi.
Yes. To harass them.
Against the law.
But they are coming to
it's not against the law to extort money from me.
Is it not against the law?
What is against the law? No, it is against the law to extort money from me. I would
for a service you never provided.
They came to extort money.
A service you never provided. You came to extort.
Yes. All this nonsense that two wrongs don't make it right. It's not when NEPA is involved. They know what they are doing. They know.
Is it NEPA? It's not longer NEPA. Barrister.
That is the easiest name.
That is the easiest name. Flow with the trend.
No, they have not moved on, so I will not move on with them. It's still NEPA. Never except power always.
It has not. The trajectory has never changed, even when they said the name is
this one is even worse. They call it power holding, Abi.
They are holding power.
They are now holding it.
It has moved from power.
It has even moved from power.
It has even moved from power.
They are not dancing this way.
They are discos. Now, as a matter of fact, it's a deeply troubling scenario that we have in this country. And after, this October 1 will be 66 as a country. And for those 65 years, we were unable to improve upon what the white man
left us.
Growing up as a young man in high school, we didn't have a standby generator
at all.
We didn't need a standby generator.
There was light.
Because the moment they take light, before you say Jack,
power is restored.
Power is restored. But it was when we got into the university that we started noticing the light will go, power will go off, and after like 1, 2, 3, 4 hours.
And people pay.
It was at that point that students started agitating. What is the problem? Now the university authorities went and bought big generators. So when there is a power outage, we at least have light. But after graduation, I now came to society.
And that's the problem with Nigeria. Rather than fix the problem, we look for something else. We look for something else and say, okay, let this
short course,
Generator was not the solution.
In the 70s, I used to
no, it's fine.
I used to proudly and happily go and pay the NEPA bill of my family from Akerele, where we live. Number 4, I'm the one who used to go and pay. From Akerele to Super Cinema, that's where the NEPA office used to be that time. I used to go. So people were happy to pay because light was coming.
Constant.
You don't need to. After you switch off your this thing, you are free. So it's not a question that people are they getting the lights? How can I pay for something I did not use? That is the problem.
The negligence is too much. That's what we see here. When they talk of population projection, Nigeria don't do it. By the time that
we fail to plan.
Yes.
One of the politicians was talking about data.
How do we project?
So
that's
when one of the politicians was talking about data, and in the Western world, they work with data. They project the population in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, and they make provision. Here, one of the politicians was very tech savvy. And when he reading out all this data and all that, then someone will say, the other politician will say, share that data will chop. Meanwhile, it is private, it is the fulcrum of your development
plans. Yeah.
So if you don't factor it in, how can you make progress?
After Festus or the Mebu, did his feat in Nigerian breweries. They asked him to come to NPC
Nigeria Population Commission
and give us a proposal. And the man was like, look, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And they discovered that he was going to do a very good
sensor. Next thing, they chased him out. And Jonathan brought it to their idea because he was looking for a second tenor. At the end of the day, was he not disappointed? They chased him out. They even used derogatory language. Said it was the beer he was producing that he drinks that is intoxicating him. Those are the derogatory language they used to chase him out. Where are we today?
The people with such mentality want the progress of Nigeria. Even the Bible says, do not be unequally yoked. If you don't have like minds in a journey you are going to, you will not make that journey. They will discourage you midway. I'm not joking. Except you have like minds who want to make progress, who want to go forward. That is the only way there will be success. Go to all these Western nations and all these countries that are borrowing us money. How did they make those money? Is there no unity of purpose? They gathered so that they can use it to make progress. But here, when you gather, some people will just be there thinking it's their right to eat the money. Is there any other thing they do? Look at how much each one of them used to make whenever they are in office. They are just, this feudalism has made them to be too lazy. That when you go into office, is now your an avenue to amass wealth, not to grow the wealth. That is why they don't want to contribute anything to the center. Their own is bring the money, bring the money. Where is the money coming from? You have been in government for over 50 years out of our 65 years of independence. And nothing to show in your region.
Prevalent in their region.
Nothing to show in your region. Are you not ashamed? And now look at this side. Look at this side.
That poverty led to this insecurity we have today.
Look at this side.
Children are there roaming in the street, not going to school.
I don't know why government is not looking at it. If I will call them and say, come, you're not a leader. Are you not ashamed? Why is this happening in your region? What have you benefited
any
to your
attempt to want to open their eyes for the children on the street to see their problem, they see you as an enemy.
That was one of the reasons why they changed Jonathan out. Why did you build schools? And Nigerians, you and I here, you are looking at people. You are looking at people who want to drag you back. Somebody want to drag you back, and you are following him. You are following him. We are the greatest fool, if you ask me. I'm not joking. If we have sense, if we want to leave something for our children tomorrow, we should have said no. We want to move forward, but we hear run Nigeria. Till in the next 20 billion years, we cannot achieve that with these people. We cannot. Moses and Okoro, quote me. This thing you are looking for, I will always say that Nigeria is the geographical expression. Take an example of Zeke. Zeke did everything. He was even thinking Africa, Nigeria, unity. At the end of the day, Zeke did not get the United States of Africa. He did not get the United States of Nigeria. He did not even get that of the Igbos, and he died. Mr. Okoro, Zeke died. He thinking that all his dream will come to pass.
Well, Barrister, I think when we talk about what the role Zeke and Awolowo played, I like to position it briefly, on their backgrounds. Zeke has been schooled in the United States of America.
I know, the exposure, the exposure.
So what he wanted to replicate in Nigeria was...
when you are in Rome, you behave like Romans.
No, because it worked in the US.
Yeah, it works in the US.
When you are in Rome,
traditional belief
but Awolowo was more realistic because Awolowo was schooled in
Europe. And he saw what
exactly
in Europe.
How Europe splits up.
It's a small segment as states.
Do you even know the irony?
As states, countries.
Awolowo made this statement in the Alexander Hall in UNN in 1964, before the war.
You mean the geographical expression?
That Nigeria is the geographical expression.
No, as a matter of fact, in 1947, his book, The Voice of Reason.
Can you imagine?
In 1947, we saw it way back.
When this thing was going on, I wonder where other people were listening and thinking, because the man was very factual. In Nigeria, they don't want the truth.
Not at all.
If you say the truth, you are an enemy. This thing is the reality. Face it. Look at what you have suffered.
It's even getting worse now.
Do you know that over 25 trillion have been spent on this insecurity? Are you aware? The National Assembly was reading out the figure, the money they have been bringing out to fight one useless thing or the other. The other day, I said, what? This amount of money that would have used to better our schools, our roads, our hospitals, we spend it.
And no solution inside.
No solution inside.
No solution inside.
So,
that's worse.
A place you spend this kind of money, the people that are benefiting from you want them to stop it?
No, never. It's business to them.
Have you seen where we are going? That Nigerian government don't want to do anything. And cleverly, they impose Muslim tickets on our head. And we say, no problem. It worked with Adbiola and King Igbe. It didn't work. It didn't work. Okay. They have forgotten that the situation have changed. Right now, we are living with real jihadis there in Nigeria, from all over Africa, all over the Sahel. And you are telling me, you can see the result of a Muslim ticket. Can there ever be a Christian ticket in this country? Can there ever be? You can see where we are. You surrendered your rights. Meanwhile, you are the gift that lets the golden egg. After suffering here, they will use it to go and service kidnappers in the north.
All right. Some other headlines here. Rivers crisis. This is from Vanguard newspaper. It says, Rivers crisis. Why Fubara is yet to receive impeachment notice. The writers to that one. Pandef inaugurates reconciliatory panel, gives it 2 weeks to broker truce. Temper justice with mercy. 2 Rivers lawmakers ask colleagues to halt impeachment. Your action, assault on Tinubu. Mosop tells Rivers Assembly. North Central APC Forum dismisses calls for Wike's resignation. And when you go to, if you flip the pages of the Vanguard, Ayo Fayose makes a statement here. He says, can Sanwo-Olu claim leadership in Lagos? Fayose queries Fubara's 001 stance.
No, that's a lot. Let me start with what Mosop has said. You know, part of the problems we have is that we like to outsource responsibility. Now, we like to outsource responsibility. Yes. Now, Mosop is saying that the impeachment process is an affront on Tinubu. What has that got to do with it?
No, he's the God of Rivers.
He sought truce.
But should it be? Why by Rivers elders?
He's the God
and
of
the Rivers people.
And Rivers people that
own
they have simply outsourced their responsibility, to take charge to the president. That is the way I interpret it. That's the way I interpret it. And it happens every other time. You have a local problem. Instead of you resolving it, you keep believing, oh, it's the president that is engineering this. It's the president that's engineering that. And we build up our federalism and concentrate the powers at the center, which shouldn't be. The subunits should be very, very powerful.
That is how it's supposed to be.
And even if you are not, you should start acting it out. We saw what happened. I'm sorry, Barrister. You saw what happened between Olusegun Obasanjo and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. One as president, one as governor.
Good.
And Bola Ahmed Tinubu said, excuse me, sir, you are the president of Nigeria, but I'm the governor of Lagos State.
So do you blame the president then if people are, attributing too much responsibility?
My take-off point is when I said that we like to expose.
That was what he said at the beginning.
It's our problem.
We jettison our own right and now begin to look for somebody else to come and
help us.
For us.
Let me add to what you just said.
How many persons are disturbing River State? How many?
Nobody.
It's just Wike. And who is this Wike? It's a citizen of River State. With all the elders, let's even leave the federal government out of this first. With all the elders, Pandef and all the other, and Mosop and all, George Youth and everything. Can't they sit one person down and talk sense into his head and say, this is your state. No matter the position you have in federal, it was here that gave birth to you that uplifted you to that elevated for then instead we are saying we are waiting for Tinubu. Tinubu will solve Lagos problem, he will solve Rivers problem. Look at when this kind of problem was building up in Lagos. When it was building up in Lagos, Tinubu came in because it's his state and said, no, Obasa should be restored. 3 months after Obasa got back to his office, can't they have elders who can talk to Wike and say, let peace reign? This man has 4 years. You had 8 years. Nobody interfered in your own 8 years. Let this man have his tenure. Because everything that is going on in River State now is the river people that are suffering it. Development is not going on. Nothing is, every time it's all crisis just because one person hurriedly left Abuja that day and remember that this is the time I'm coming to do thank you visit after 2.5 years. Now he's now run. After 17 days, he has caused the trouble down now. He went back to Abuja. Then that can't. Is it bigger than Pandef? Is it bigger than Joy Youth Council?
And he had disgraced himself. Let me tell you what happened in Lagos here when you made reference to Obasanjo and Tinubu. When Obasanjo was riding roughshod over the southwest like a hurricane, when he came to Lagos State, they wanted to take Lagos State. Remember, Atiku had made reference to what happened. That he was the one that told Obasanjo, let's leave Lagos for Tinubu. Tinubu saw that they were coming to take Lagos State. You know what he did? He mobilized all the bad boys, gave them a jerry can of fuel all around Lagos. That immediately he gave order that they should burn down Lagos instead of these people to take it. It happened here.
Barrister, is this fiction?
What are you telling me? When Obasanjo saw the report from DSS, they say, everywhere they will leave that way, they will leave him or leave him.
Where is your source?
I said I'm in this Lagos. You are telling me I'm in
Moses,
Lagos.
at that point,
What are you telling me?
at that point, I was practicing. You know, I was a practicing journalist.
am
And we got intelligence that at that point, you know, DSS or SSS then, as it were, was when they presented intelligence to Obasanjo, and they said, look, Mr. President, you can take every other state in Nigeria if you want, but leave Lagos for Tinubu, leave Abia for OUK. You know, as at that time, OUK was at loggerheads with Obasanjo. So intelligence report was that if you don't want to cause problems, you know, I leave Lagos and Abia. But the assessment level of the veracity of that intelligence is what I couldn't verify at that time. But after the elections, it played out that Lagos was left intact and Abia State was left intact. So that lent some credence to that intelligence report that we had at that time.
Oh, so that is what. So
why I'm relay this in some detail is because Barrister said that they had Jerry Khan all over again. That's what I'm not doubting you. I'm saying I didn't hear.
I am telling you that was exactly why Obasanjo said, I'm not joking. And he was ready to do it. That is how to, you know, when you have balance of power. Oh my God, why Nigerians they are falling my hand, especially the people from here. Why can't we stand up one day and tell these people, look, you see this your nonsense. All of us are dying here today. I'm telling you,
Barrister,
they will go back.
Will you come out?
Again,
will you come out?
I will be at the forefront.
Barrister?
I said I will be at the forefront because you don't know how this will pain me that indigenous, Nigerian citizens and IDP camp and terrorists from somewhere have taken over their home. What if it is my own home? Mr. Okoro, have you just imagined that you are here? And you are hearing that some people are taking over your family home in Abia and your people, your family are in IDP camp. How will you feel? No, how will you feel?
No, it's hurting.
That's what I'm telling you here. But here, government don't bother because nobody in the Benue State to talk and all that.
Unfortunately, the people that we even call government up north there, some of these people, they domicile in Abuja, they don't even go home. We hear about senators that stay for a term, you know, they don't go home. Why? Because they are scared. They can't go home because terrorists have, you know, more like enveloped their constituencies and all of that.
That is
but they are there collecting constituency allowances, you know, and we hear if you don't get up to 1 trillion. In fact, someone said, well, you people are talking about millions. I got 1 billion. And up until today, no questions answered, no questions asked, no answers provided.
Oh, my brother, we are too docile. Maybe they have hypnotized us.
It's even worse with
they have hypnotized us. Asari Dokubo and they couldn't talk. But when he comes to the
Asari has spoken.
They'll be running their mouth.
He's an Ijaw man, so he will stand by his Ijaw brother.
You can imagine.
But Wike paid him a visit.
It's not about the brother.
After the visit.
Okay, after the visit.
It's about 7 rivers. It's not about your brother. It's about 7 rivers from external forces.
His friend. He will not go against the president.
Other ethnic groups.
These people don't have.
If it happens to the Look, it will still happen to the other ones tomorrow. Let the Rivers people
unite and to tell these people in Rivers State that, in fact, when I said there's nobody, I used to say it on our show, that there's nobody in Rivers State. Ask yourself, with all that is going on in the north, with all the insecurity, why haven't Tinubu put a state of emergency there? Please tell me. But in the Rivers State that people are just extending west, you impose river because you discover that there's nobody can challenge you, nobody can do anything, and it came to pass.
Rivers people form my hand, honestly.
All right, let's go to New Telegraph. Let's just maybe touch on 1 or 2 stories from that paper before we call it a day. The big story on the cover page of New Telegraph says Nigeria at war, must change budgetary approach, retired AVM. 6 more spending in tactical fighter helicopter procurement. Chief of Army Staff will root out all local foreign threats to national security, commits to defense of democracy. And then other headlines here: 2 Rivers lawmakers urge colleagues to drop Fubara's impeachment. Abu Dhabi's Sustainability Week, opportunity to concretize pacts reached in Brazil's COP. Labour Party not for sale. Usman tells Abure, says ex-chair misinterpreted Supreme Court's judgment. Here we go. Lagos monarch Akram Badagry dies at 89. Tinubu'S will do others pay tribute. And other headlines here as well. We have resident doctors to revive strike suspension in 2 weeks. Anesthetists demand role in Lagos probe of Adichie's son's death. And occupation of LG secretariats, illegal. Osun civil society groups tell APC officials, police. And back to Edo State. Gunmen kidnap 8 persons lodged in hotel. Demand 100 million naira ransom. All right. 2027 ADC risks irrelevance without Obi as its presidential candidate, Fayoshe. And yes, of course, those are the headlines there.
Nigeria at war must change budgetary approach. Air Vice Marshal. We have seen for some years now the defense has been taking the lion's share in the budget.
Yes, no
but
result.
Unfortunately, we have not been seeing the results.
Yes,
so this changing the budgetary
go to overhead actually.
Okay, even the soldiers at the war front, go and look at their welfare.
Okay, the overhead.
Look at their welfare. Where is that overhead, Moses?
Because the
boys at the war front,
soldiers
at the front line, go and look at the complaint. I mean, they are feeding and their allowances. So where is this budget that we see every year go to? We heard of Super Tucano jets last helicopters last time. Today that one is pushed aside. Now we are not talking about the new one we want to go and acquire. Why are we muddling up things? If we really want to solve this insecurity, is this how we are going to do it? Another year budget or 2026 budget is what we are talking about.
This year budget, they have the lion's share.
They have the lion's share. They've been having it for so many years now.
1
trillion.
Just for one second.
But a lot goes into insecurity, like the Minister of Defense.
We are not seeing results. We are not seeing results.
One missile is about 1 point something million.
We are not seeing results. That is just the problem.
So how many missiles have they
shot?
I say we are not seeing
we only see.
How many?
We even saw a minister who told us that even our bomb cannot penetrate the forest of where the soldiers are living. This is a minister of defense.
And we also had a presidential handler who told us that they cannot track these terrorists
because they're using a different network platform. And that is the digital economy person.
Then somebody now told us yesterday that the Nigerian situation is irredeemable. A retired army man. That there's no need. That this is, we cannot solve the problem.
That's why we are saying. That's why we are saying Trump to come and help us to solve the problem now. That's why we are calling on Trump and other Western allies.
Nobody can save Nigeria the way it is. A retired army man is telling you this. I was shocked.
Yeah, because he knows what is going on in the system.
So why are we budgeting for you people? Since you cannot solve the problem.
Well, this would be a good place to end the conversation for today. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Marisa Darlington Agumo, thank you for your contribution. Elvis Elimehele, thank you very much as well.
Thank you,
Moses. Well, thank you. And Hugh makes a comeback later tonight at 6 p.m.
Yes, and I'll travel around Nigeria with my guests to bring you interesting trending stories. Join me there, and it promises to be quite interesting.
There you have it, 6 p.m. later tonight. Political Lens takes the airways. But between now and then, we have other programs. Sports comes up next, and then we'll be going around Africa as well. So a whole lot more to come your way today on VOP Television. I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Behind every broken deck lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories. From missing funds to policy failures, we ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
In a world where power shifts with every headline,
In a nation full of questions,
in a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Behind every broken deck lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories. From missing funds to policy failures, we ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
2564 is coming up on Burning 9, right?
The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe. Hunger no get religion.
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues, on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOPTV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOPTV, Voice of the People Television.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Well, still basking in the euphoria of the Super Eagles qualification to the semi-finals of the ongoing African Cup of Nations in Morocco 2025. Of course, we expect the Super Eagles to do justice against the host nation tomorrow. On that note, I welcome you to this day episode of Sport Republic on Voice of the People TV. I'm Ikechukwu Ago. And of course, there's going to be a lot of conversation that we'll be having today. Myself, of course, my guests who eventually will join in the course of the show. We'll be starting with what's going on right there at home. And, of course, it's going to actually be about what's going down right there after the game between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Nigeria. As, you know, the president of the Nigerian Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusau, has been talking in a spirited display of confidence. He actually been talking when he actually just, addressed reporters with a promise that resonated deep within the heart of football fans. The Super Eagles of Nigeria's pride were gearing up for a monumental semi-final clash against the AFCON host nation, Morocco, following a resounding 2-0 victory over Algeria in the quarterfinals. The stage was set for an epic showdown on Wednesday in Casablanca, as we hope that the Super Eagles will do justice, like I said earlier on. Gusau's voice, filled with determination, echoed with unwavering belief he had in his team. He spoke of their focus, commitment, and unity qualities, and of course, deemed essentially for overcoming the Atlas Lions of Morocco. Drawing inspirations for the Super Falcons' remarkable comeback against Morocco in 2025 African Women's Championship late last year, of course, where the Super Falcons, did the La Decima in that very 3-2 comeback win against the host nation. Of course, you recall that the Super Falcons actually went down 2-0 in that particular game before the magic started and the girls actually came home with the tournament. He continued by saying, just as we saw in the Women's African Cup of Nations against the same Morocco, Nigeria emerged victorious, we believe the same will happen here, he declared with fervor. Gosal concluded with a powerful reminder that once the whistle is blown, it is 11 players against 11. All other factors, doesn't really matter. He was actually responding to the questions of home advantage and possible intimidations by, the North Africans in that particular game. Of course, these guys can actually have, this way of approaching games mentally, even before the players step on the pitch. They have this very uncanny or unusual attitude of, personal intimidation, fans intimidation, and this actually happened even against our girls. Perhaps that's exactly why these girls went 2-0 down before they actually came back, showing the huge spirit of Nigeria. But yes, I know that my guest is very much in right now. Pelumi, yes, Pelumi is good morning. Welcome to Sport Republic on Voice of the People TV.
Yes, good morning, Chiku, and good morning to everyone watching us right now. It's a great pleasure to join you on the show this lovely Tuesday morning.
All right, so I was just talking about the president of Nigerian Football Federation, Ibrahim Gosal, who was actually been talking about the Super Eagles and comparing this game against Morocco. You recall that the Super Falcons actually did the La Decima against the same Morocco who were the host of the Women Championship last year when the girls actually won 3-2 in that final when they had to come back from 2-0 down. And he's actually talking about the boys, talking about the unity in the camp, talking about how focused these guys were. But of course, looking at the quality of the Morocco and of course the Super Eagles, the Moroccans before this particular championship, a lot of persons were actually tipping them to at least get to the semi-final. In fact, the good bookmakers actually said they're going to win it, owing by last 3 years how they've actually performed in Africa as one of the very best teams. In the Olympics, they showed that they're best in Africa. In the World Cup, they showed that they're best in Africa. Now here in this particular tournament, they've also shown that they are giving one of those teams to reckon with. But do you really think the Super Eagles have a very good chance, or is just Gosal actually just saying what he had to say as the president of the Football Federation?
Well, I think that this stage of the competition, if you're still on the president, I think it's going to be at your own peril because that team has been doing really well since the start of the competition. And one interesting thing about all of their is, of course, they are the only team in this competition so far that have won all of their games up to this very point. And the interesting thing about them is that every of those games that they have went on to dominate every of those games. There's no single game where Nigeria struggled to win, or we say maybe they were a bit lucky, or maybe we say they were assisted by the rest and all of that. They have deserved to win every of the games that they have won so far at this stage of the competition. So I think they are very, very good contenders for the title. And the Moroccans will also know what to be up against when they face the Super Eagles of Nigeria tomorrow. Well, we spoke about the antics of the North Africans. We are quite sure, we quite understand that, but even the Super Falcons also faced something similar to that the last time the WAFCON final. They were intimidated, the laser pointed towards them and all of that. And despite going behind 2-0 in the first half, they still came back to eventually win that particular one. Yes, I know Morocco are hosting to win, but then the Super Eagles are in this competition so far. We have seen Morocco, yes, they mostly good football, but then some of the games that they are winning up to win have not been consistent in some of these games. I can say that with the Tanzanians that they won by a goal to get the one set of games, it wasn't like the squad for football that they played in that one. In the game against Cameroon, I also think that Cameroon could have had a penalty, and it was winning at that point in time. Maybe a penalty to Cameroon before this, and we might be talking about a different scoreline in there. But then, here we have Morocco and Nigeria. Nigeria would have on the back of their mind that they have defeated 2 North Africans in this competition so far. They beat Tunisia in the group stage, and they also beat Algeria in the quarterfinals and so on. So I think that is the good that Nigeria will be going into the right here. For me, I think the major issue lies Morocco, because they are the ones that would be studying how to play against the Super Eagles of Nigeria right now. Like I said, that the Super Eagles have dominated of that game, and you see that there is a tactical setup working for this Super Eagles team. So I think the more pressure is definitely on Morocco. Like I said, they are hosting to win. They have invested a whole lot. The pressure is on the players, the pressure is on coaches. They have achieved a whole lot of things, like in terms of winning the game, and should I say that they are currently going on a run of games without losing in there. So I think they are also in very, very good form. But when they take President, I think it will be a different ball game entirely in that particular one. So I think Nigeria is right going into this one, and it will be like a major upset in Morocco, despite the hostile environment. Yes, the environment is definitely going to be hostile, but these guys are professional. We trust them to handle the hostile environment that they will be expecting at the same play at the last region. So I think the Super Eagles have got it takes to go ahead and edge this one out.
Of course, thank you very much there, Kwayumi. Moving on, let's talk about Eric Shaw, who definitely will continue his role as head coach of the senior national team after the African Cup of Nations concludes, according to the source. Of course, he spoke to the chairman of Nigerian Sport Commission, talking about Shehu Goso, actually spoke to press. Of course, he said the decision comes ahead of the semi-final clash against Morocco. And it appears that Shell's future is secure regardless of the match result, because he already agreed to a new term, according to him, with a deal set to take effect automatically following Nigeria's impressive progression to the semi-finals, highlighted by a dominant 2-0 victory over Algeria, which followed an earlier 4-0 win against Mozambique in the tournament. Interest in Shell's services has been generated amid speculations from teams like Angola, Guinea, and Tunisia, all of them who are keen to capitalize on any uncertainty surrounding his position with the Nigerian Football Federation. A top official of the National Sports Commission also confirmed that he said, and I quote, "It is as good as done that he will remain as the coach of the Super Eagles. An agreement was reached in principle before the World Cup qualifiers playoffs in January, and it will come in full effect after the AFCON, regardless of what happens in the game against Morocco." The official further emphasized, "We have seen enough to know that he is the man to actually take us to the job. It's one step to shape the future of the team even before the win over Algeria." I believe Nigerians also recognize that as Nigeria prepares for the semi-final, Charles continue to actually lead the Super Eagles, and of course the confidence in the ability to guide the team cannot be overemphasized. I mean, looking at Eric Shaw, before he actually got the job, a lot of persons were actually saying, how can you wait for over 8 months to actually appoint a new manager? He came in, he did, the first 2 games was actually, neither here or there. Then we actually saw that, okay, perhaps this man has what it takes to actually lead us. And unfortunately, he failed to actually make it to the World Cup after the Nations Cup qualification rounds was concluded. And now we are here, playing the AFCON proper. How do you even rate Eric Shaw ever since he actually got the job, to be the Super Eagles gaffer?
Yeah, I think he has done absolutely well. Honestly, he has performed beyond expectations, because coming in, taking the job of President Nigeria, which I feel is one of the most difficult jobs that any coach would want to take. Not only because of what happens in the field of play, but then the shenanigans that happen off the pitch as well. But I think Eric Shaw has found a way to put all of this behind him, and has done very, very well. The numbers actually speak for this particular man. He has not lost a competitive game for the Super Eagles of Nigeria in 19 minutes. The only game he has lost was the GR Congo game. Lost on 10 out in that one. I would say that is like the most crucial game that we ever played, because the World Cup qualification hopes of Nigeria were hanging on that particular game. But we wouldn't fall entirely for the Super Eagles not making the World Cup. One thing is certain, we could see the improvement in the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We could see the improvement in their quality of play, the style of play. Like I said, they've been playing fast, playing football, and the fact that it's also trying to get the best out of some of these players, I think it is something that deserves kudos. Case in point, Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi has been one of the most aligned Super Eagles players in time past. I remember the last AFCON where he was bullied online at the whole level. Now, fast forward to a few years now, look at what Alex Iwobi is playing. I think the result has made him one of the most important players in that Super Eagles of Nigeria. Look at Awada as well. For years now, we are speaking for a first partner for Victor. We have tried a couple of guys, Murphy, Victor Boniface, Tolu Arukodare, and those of other guys. But look at Awada. We just see penetration, just like it's a match made in heaven. So I think all of these definitely need us to give kudos to Eric Shaw. It definitely cannot overlook what they are doing with this particular team. So I think the number definitely speak for him. And the only negative that I had in his career so far with the disaster that happened to the champion right there. And I'm really entirely faulting for that one. I think the quality of those players are also not good enough for a style of football. Now with Super Eagles players now we are seeing what it's actually doing. I talk about getting the best out of some of these players. Look at the performance that Pat Samuel gave in the game against Australia. Look at the captain Bruno in the match. Trying to this competition we're competing who would start at left back, if they can or is it Bruno? They played the game and then Bruno came into the village and look at what Bruno provided an assist for the for the first goal against Australia. I think all of these you will see that these are coach efforts in this particular Super Eagles of Nigeria. So I think the same thing to do, the right thing to do for the NFS is just to give him more contact, let him deal with the same. I can remember journalists asking him that what has changed between then and now. This is a thing that failed to pick up the World Cup ticket, and that the one now blowing away things that they have. But what has changed between these few months? I can remember his response saying that the team has had enough time to train together. Like it's still the same set of players, but then they have had to understand one another better. And I think that is the effort of the coaching crew as well. So it definitely needs to be given more years, good distractions, and we also need to, when I speak about no distractions, I mean us not owing him. That is what I mean. Because like you said, there would be offers from different places because of what he's doing. And now this is where we have to also make sure that his veteran is properly taken care of. Because if he gets a better offer from there, I wouldn't want him if he decides to do. So the NFF also has a job of their hands. The NFF has a job of their hands to make sure a girl stays with this particular thing. Yes, give him more years, even if he does not win the one, honestly, regardless of what happens at that point, give him more time, let him see through the qualification for the next one and the competition proper, and even qualification for the 2030 World Cup as well. So make it to the World Cup for 2 consecutive times now. And I think the coaching was one of the reasons why we didn't get it there. Now leave Rachel to actually handle this thing. Let us see what he can do with a couple of years with this particular Super Eagles of Nigeria. So I would rate him with honesty. I think they have done very well. It was a big upgrade to the last couple of things that we had, the likes of Maybe George, Jose Pesero, Austin Eguava. Due respect to all of those guys, I think Rachel is a little bit at home all of this. I love the things that he's on that. And Rachel is someone who has always been playing that particular one. Purple Diamond, he has looked for information that fits the Super Eagles of Nigeria side of play, and we can see that it is really working over for him and the boys as well.
Well, so definitely you're tilting towards what the National Sports Commission is saying, that Eric Chell deserves to actually remain on the job.
Certainly, yes. I think he definitely deserves to do that.
But a lot of concerns have been raised about Eric Chell. I mean, when they actually started, even this AFCON, the list, when he actually released the list, people were actually asking questions, is this man really in charge of this particular Super Eagles? Do you really think he's in charge?
Well, I do not think that you can take away influence from Nigerian football. It has been there since time immemorial, and I don't think you can take away that one. The NFF would have their influence, the MSC would also have their influence, and all of this starts from calling players off right here. I don't think NFF will give any coach 100% control of anything. But one thing I like to tell for is that I think he wants to take control of what happens on the field of play. He has said it a lot of times that anything that happens on the field, he should leave the federation to be in charge of that one, control that particular one. But anything that happens on the field, that is what he wants to care about. That is what he wants to care for. Now, you will see that in terms of player institution, maybe there are some influences right there. It's not in full control. But trust me, when it comes to setting up the players, when it comes to arranging players, Ericsson will definitely go with the players that he trusts, the players that he knows. And we can actually see in this AFCON. Yes, lead up to the AFCON, they had the provisional, then we had the eventual for the 8-man list, and we saw strange names in there. Names that are played for Nigeria before and then they disappeared, even some names that the other people do not know. Now tell me, how many of these guys have we seen in the Super Eagles of Nigeria now? How many of these guys have we seen actually play? A couple of them are getting just a few minutes when the game is almost done, and dusted. That is when Ezekiel is changing some of these guys in. Aside as a certain analogy, we started the game, and I think that institution is definitely justified that particular one. So one thing about Ezekiel is that it goes with the guys' results, it puts them on the field of play, it gets the results, then maybe it gives these relatively young guys a couple of minutes as well. So I think the fact that it is not a full control, I don't think that would be a problem. At this stage, I think it is still manageable until maybe we hear that the NFF or the NFP as interfering in what happens on the field. I think that is when maybe there's a problem. But for now, all of those guys that are playing, I think these are excel players. These are excel guys. These are the guys that are doing the World Cup qualification. These are the guys that still keep using, barring any injury to any of these guys. So I think that is one positive that people take away from this particular one as well.
Absolutely. Still talking about AFCON. Yes, and moving on, the journey to 2027 African Cup of Nations is about to unfold. A thrilling chapter in African football that promises excitement and first competition. It all begins today when the Confederation of African Football will conduct the draw for the preliminary rounds of qualifiers, setting the stage for teams across the continent. In anticipation of the momentous event, CAF took a significant step on Monday by releasing the official ports for the teams participating in the preliminary stage. This announcement laid the groundwork for what will be opening fixtures in this critical qualification campaign. In Pot 1, a mix of determined teams awaits their fate. Lesotho, Burundi, Ethiopia, Eswatini, South Sudan, and Mauritius. These nations are eager to showcase their talent and secure their place in the tournament. On the other side, yes, Pot 2 features the challenges like Chad, Sao Tome and Principe, Djibouti, Somalia, Seychelles, Eritrea, all ready to rise to the occasion. According to CAF, the guidelines, each team from Pot 1 will be paired against team from Pot 2, with the first leg of each side to be hosted by the lower-ranked nation. This structure adds an intriguing twist as the lower-ranked teams will have their moments to shine on their home turf. The matches will be contested over 2 legs, heightening the anticipation for fans and players alike. From this stage, the 6 winning teams will advance to the group stage draw, joining Africa's top 42 ranked nations in exhilarating rates for a spot at the continent's premier football tournament. As the countdown to the draw begins, the air is charged with excitement, hope, and dreams of glory as teams prepare to fight for the chance to etch their names in history of the African Cup of Nations. Pelumi, the 2027 African Cup of Nations is, within us right now, and as we, about to conclude in 2025, I mean, we saw an expanded format this particular time, and a lot of goals has also been seen. I mean, what can you say so far, ever since you've been following the championship? In terms of development, what do you expect to see in 2027?
Well, I think should be improving year by year, but I say competition by competition, and this particular edition is one of the most interesting editions, and one of the reasons why we have this because of the level of infrastructure that we're actually seeing. Now, I think Morocco has set the standard for every other edition who wants to host the AFCON again. A lot of people are even saying that Morocco put in the work to host the World Cup, not the AFCON, because normally the standard to host an AFCON tournament is 6 stadia. Now Morocco presented 9 top-class stadia right there that are doing very, very well. And even despite the heavy rainfall in all of the centers in Morocco, you can see that the playing surface is still very good. And this is one of the reasons why we are even having the top team get to the latter stages of the competition, because there is no time for difficult football again. If you play good football on the field, you will definitely win, you definitely progress. I think the quality of the pitches is definitely what is an contributor to this particular one. Now, the next edition, yes, interestingly, will be hosted by 3 countries, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. You need to do better. Although I'm not saying they will be able to surpass what Morocco has done in terms of the infrastructure. But then there was these 3 nations hosted the CAN tournament last year, which will serve like a preparation mode for them to host the AFCON. And I think they would have seen some of the last week in there, and they should be working on all of these things to make sure that we have a very, very fantastic one. And now with the confirmation of past president that will be having the tournament played every 4 years now, I think these are 4 nations that will be hosting a lot of times to actually prepare for this particular one. Yes, like I said, the topic is really good. The organization is also very fantastic. But one thing I think staff and the whole team nation needs to work on is the crowd. I think mobilization of people to the stadium is also very important. That is one that's a shortcoming of this particular action. We are seeing empty stadium. In fact, there was a time there that the gates were open for free after 20 minutes for people to actually come in so that people will see a proper option for the World Cup so that they will see the stadium being filled. And despite that, we are still seeing 30,000, 30,000 people coming to watch games. I think only Morocco games are in over 60,000 in there. So I think staff needs to do something on that particular one. They need to make sure that people are interested in watching not only the games of the host nation, but the games of other nations as well. One of the reasons for I think if we have a proper inter-travel like system where people can travel easily from one country to another within Africa, if you can have all of it, I think it will be easier. Someone in Nigeria can easily what is called Morocco just to support the president of Nigeria just for one year. So I think this is one of the things that we need to look forward to between now and the 2027 election. Although I think that there might be a case of them playing the 2027 election in 2028. Now that remember the sort of I don't think it's to have one in 2027 and have another one in 2028. So I think the 2027 election will be moved to 2028. And that will afford Kenya, Uganda, and Ghana a lot of time to actually prepare for this one.
Absolutely. I mean, still talking about the African Cup of Nations, you recall that, one of the, still talking about the African Cup of Nations and, of course, development in African football, you also recall that, in the aftermath of the AFCON 2025 quarterfinals, Nigeria against Algeria, the Football Federation of Algeria actually officially filed a complaint with both Confederation of African Football and FIFA, alleging bias officiating in a 2-0 defeat to the Super Eagles held in Marrakech. The match ended with Nigerian securing 2 goals scored by Victor Osimhen and Akko Adams. However, the post-match atmosphere turned chaotic with heated arguments involving players and officials and attempted pitch invasion as well, further marked the frustration of the Sase. In a statement, the Algerian FA expressed their concerns over Sase's decision, stating that they have compromised the integrity of the match, damaged the trust in African refereeing. The Federation called for an immediate investigation and demand that Says be banned from the tournament. In response to the complaint, CAF has announced that it will open an investigation and has referred the matter to the disciplinary board. As the situation unfolds, the controversy surrounding the match continues to raise questions about the officiating standards in African football and the implications before that tournament. I mean, Pelumi, we're talking about development in African football and, of course, how AFCON has actually developed over the years. You recall that last AFCON, one of the major talking points was the fact that this is arguably the best tournament in terms of, officiating, that Africa has raised the standard so high. Now, what we're witnessing right now, particularly what happened in the Nigeria game, also you recall that there's also reports before the Morocco and Cameroon game, the FECAFOOT president talking about Samuel Eto'o also said that there seemed to be this undue favor or undue advantage has been handed over to some North African teams, particularly the host nation Morocco. Now we are seeing the Algerian Football Association actually filing a complaint to FIFA and CAF. Now, with all of this report, for me, I don't know what exactly you think, but does it look like there's a sort of campaign or an agenda to actually reduce the quality of African football, or is it really that African football at this time around officiating has not really been top notch?
Yeah, well, I think I would agree with what you said, and the fact that the level of officiating at this AFCON has not really been top notch. Honestly, I think we have to admit that there have been several controversial decisions here and there. And just like you said, one of the things where that we were happy about at that factor in Nigeria was that the education was really in the past. It was a time where the VAR and the fact in England was very controversial then. And they were even compared that the PGA come and then how they are using here in Africa and Mexico and all of that. That is one of the things that we get to this stage. For us now, I think the level has actually set. Maybe because we don't framework in this particular. And I don't think it's good about, and I think what brought about this particular the problem was technical. I think it was technically about the DR Congo and the Republic game, where Jonathan felt like he could have had a penalty, and the VR was not working at that particular point in time, and they actually thought with it onto the penalty to the penalty. And we saw a play that penalty that started in better actually handle the ball and penalty to that mention. So I think that technical fault there has actually delayed everything and set a bad precedent for the application going forward. And before then, and after then, it was every strong power, every available weapon right there. So I think it is not really enough part, and the rest are that all of it is actually coming up. Like I said, I'm talking at the low part. For example, the most of that I still can do nothing about that particular one. Egypt, South Africa as well, the world the penalty that was there is not for South Africa. And even the most of that I said earlier on, England they have won the penalty for Cameroon. So there are different instances like that. And Nigeria game as well, the penalty incident against Guys and Cameroon. Several cases like that. They are getting 5, 6, 7 cases or 4 is taking that's a controversial situation. I think we had a stability of the European Affairs Committee, it is an isolated case, like the European they are getting more than 5, 6 controversial. It is not to the best committee. And now, I think this is the one that we use that instance. And this that is something that you can see them better than every of these things are very found that we don't want to everything before several things before the
Bellamy, can you hear me?
Yeah.
There seems to be a callback from your sound. I don't know if you can actually sort that out. There's a sound that's actually disturbing. I really cannot hear you what you say. But please just actually look into it and join us right back. But then moving on to another story, and of course this one concerns the head coach of the Super Eagles and the national team. I'm talking about Eric Shell, because two key players of the national team, talking about Wilfred Ndidi and of course Taniam Nwabali, will not be part of the team. But the biggest concern for the coach is actually Wilfred Ndidi, as the coach is currently deliberating, I beg your pardon, on the idea of replacing the captain, who will be suspended for Nigeria's semi-final clash against Morocco in the ongoing African Cup of Nations. Wilfred Ndidi actually received the second yellow card during the quarterfinal match, where Nigeria secured a 2-0 victory over Algeria, leading to his suspension for the upcoming game. The potential replacement could be Rafael Onyedika, or talking about the man who a lot of Nigerians seem to have forgotten, Moses Simon, in that particular midfield. However, Chelsea is considering alternative strategies. Chelsea is actually contemplating shifting Frank Onyeka to the base of the diamond midfield, a position typically held by Ndidi, which could allow, which would definitely allow him to actually move Ademola Lookman from the forward row, with Simon actually potentially filling one of those 3 attacking spots. Team strategy, of course, the coach staff has engaged in extensive conversation and discussion about the team, and of course, the strategy against Morocco, I beg your pardon. A final decision on who will be replacing Ndidi is expected to follow before the game against Morocco, and that's definitely following last session training yesterday. It seems like it's most likely going to be Moses Simon stepping in the ranks, but a lot of questions have actually been raised. A lot of persons really cannot fathom why the coach cannot just go for like person to actually step in for Wilfred Ndidi to actually balance the midfield, and then let's get the same Iwobi that we've been getting. But because the big question here is, if he eventually decides to actually throw in Moses Simon into the Wolves, he's definitely going to first upset the attack, which as far as I'm concerned, they form a very good synergy. Victor Moses, Aqua Adams, Victor Osimhen, I beg your pardon, Victor Osimhen, Akwa Adams, and Ademola Lookman have formed a very good trio. And then if he decides to actually pull, one of them out, talking about Ademola Lookman, and throw him right there, somewhere in the midfield, it's going to actually affect, how the attack will move, and definitely also affect how the midfield will move, because Ademola Lookman will also need a little bit of time to actually blend into that mix. And against a high-profile side, a side that is technically gifted, a side that has top midfielders like Amrabat in the heart of the midfield, you don't want to actually start experimenting with people who are not core midfielders, and that's where I think it's going to be real big problem for us. But it's Pelumi back. Let's get to take a response from him. Of course, it seems Pelumi is still very much struggling with his connection right there. But then, if you ask me as the coach of the Super Eagles, I think the very best alternative for me here is to actually see Rafael Ndika actually sit deep and play the Wilfred Ndidi role. We saw him actually step into the plate for Wilfred Ndidi in the last game against Uganda, and it was awesome. It was very fantastic. And I mean, why wouldn't he? Why can't he just continue in that particular order and allow him enjoy himself in the heart of the midfield? Palumi, are you there?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think it's better now. The whole back is not coming out. So I'm asking, right? We have a very big issue in our hands. Two of our key players will not be part of this game against Morocco. Stanley Nwabali, yes, we can actually find a replacement. A lot of persons have been crying. I mean, Uzoho, but then we can actually do with that. But in the heart of the midfield, there's a very big problem. We're playing against a side that is very tactical. A side that has top midfielder like Amrabat in the heart of the midfield. A side that has players who can actually win game on their own, likes of Hakimi, Ibrahim Diaz. And of course, a team that's actually shown that, in the last 3 years, they are actually the best in Africa. Now stepping into this particular ring, there's no Wilfred Ndidi who has shown that he is the commander-in-chief of that particular team. Who do you think? Because Eric Chase is actually contemplating between, moving Ademola Lookman into the heart of the midfield and then bringing Moses Simon to actually join the try on the attack, or, playing Rafael Ndika, in the base, just as, like for like, as we saw against Uganda. Who do you think should actually step in to the plate for, for that particular game against Morocco?
Well, first off, I think Stanley Nwabali will play. I don't think he's suspended for that one. I think that is just his second yellow card, and the first one came in the group stage.
But for Wilfred Ndidi, he will not play. The reports he will not play.
Yes. Yeah, of course. So let's focus on the one who is confirmed that he would not play, which is Wilfred Ndidi. I think it's going to be a big miss for the Super Eagles of Nigeria in that one. And not only because of what he brings to that team in terms of his style of play, but then I think his leadership is also one thing. The driving force that he has got is one of the key players that have been driving these particular players to want to do more. And to importantly state that is one of the reasons why Alex Iwobi is actually flourishing in this tournament. I think the fact that we have Frank Onyeka and Wilfred Ndidi sitting at the base, that affords Alex Iwobi time on the ball, and he has time to pick out his passes and pick out the attackers. But for me, I think I will be surprised. Now that Wilfred Ndidi is out, I will be surprised if Elchel decides to go with Moses Simon. I will be very, very surprised, because that's kind of changing the formation. That's kind of deploying a different player in a different type of role. If you want to play Moses Simon, just like you said, it means that Ademola Lookman will be dropping into the midfield. And whatever would change the attacking trio, I think nobody should tamper with it. They should not even think about changing the attacking trio of Victor Osimhen, Akwa Adams, and Ademola Lookman. This trio have been the best so far in this competition, and the goal contribution are definitely there to speak for them. I think that should alter the particular attacking trio. I think the same thing to do is just put Rafael Onyedika in that particular position. Yes, there might be problems because Rafael Onyedika is also a player who wants to dictate play. He's more like a tempo dictator as well. But right now, I think he's going to need a whole lot of coaching before that game tomorrow. He needs to understand some of these rules that, okay, you will be with Alex Iwobi that we are playing through and not himself. He's not so much of a ball winner like Wilfred Ndidi in that particular position. But I think he's also a very, very good player. He understands the position and it will be very, very good not to take a risk with putting an attacker in that position. Just put a midfielder in there and not to upset the balance in that team, just like you said. So I think Rafael Onyedika should definitely come into this particular play. They just need to tell him not to, he doesn't have to hold on to the ball so much, and he's also a very, very good ball progressor. I think that is one of the things that we could actually bank on in that game, because the strength of the Super Eagles of Nigeria is the fact that their attackers are very, very fast. That is one thing that the Super Eagles of Nigeria have relied on in that one. And Rafael Onyedika can actually help in transition because he moves the ball fast in that particular. So I think it will be a very, very useful one in that game. But maybe not a very good marker, like I said. But then I think.
So Pelumi, is it possible we see, a Frank Onyeka actually drop into the base of the midfield, and then Rafael Onyedika, who is actually a very good, ball carrier, move into his role? Is it possible we see that?
Yeah, that is most likely what's going to happen. Frank Onyeka will be the one to sit at the base. I don't think Eriche would want to risk putting Rafael Onyedika at the base of the midfield, shielding the centre backs. I don't think that's going to happen. So it will be Frank Onyeka that will be sitting really, really deep. So I think Onyedika and that will just kind of play in front of him like that.
All right, so thank you very much. Let's move on to another story, and of course, this one actually caught the attention of the world yesterday as Real Madrid officially parted ways with Xabi Alonso as manager following disappointing 3-0 loss to Barcelona in the Spanish Super Cup. Alonso exit from the Santiago Bernabeu comes just 7 months into his tenure, with the decision announced one day after a trailing Clásico defeat, highlighted ongoing concerns regarding the team's performance and struggles. Of course, the struggle during his tenure as the manager of Real Madrid. Of course, the manager actually faced a rocky start with issues from previous season continue to actually affect the clubs. From Real Madrid hierarchy released a statement on the official X handle confirming Alonso's departure. And of course, the statement reads that by mutual agreement between club and Xabi Alonso, it has been decided to end his time as coach of the first team. Xabi Alonso will always have our affection and admiration of Real Madrid fans and of course the board, because he is a legend of Real Madrid and has always represented the values of our club. Real Madrid will always be home, to him. And of course, they also acknowledge gratitude to Alonso and his technical team for their efforts during his technical team, I beg your pardon, for their effort during his time in charge of the Los Blancos, wishing them success in future endeavors. Despite winning 24 of 34 matches, the team faced backlash from fans after a defeat by Celta Vigo last month, leading to an emergency meeting around the club hierarchy. And of course, you recall that was the very first step before eventually it fell to Hassan Flick's men, and officially right now he's off the hook by the board. Let me just ask you this very straight one question, Pelumi. Does this come as a surprise to you that Alonso will be leaving a job after the loss to Barcelona? Does it come as a surprise? Just one question, one answer.
Right, I'm surprised. Yeah.
You're very surprised?
Yes, I am.
Knowing how Madrid do their things.
Yes, of course. I know Madrid do their thing, but then I don't think it was because of the results. I think that is the second time in Real Madrid history that they will be sacking a manager after losing a Clásico. The first one was a 5-1 loss of Lopetegui in 2018. And this manager lost 3-2. Yes, we know that it was a final and he lost 3-2. It was still a very, very close game. But I think it was a political play that happened there. They were just looking for a high-profile game for him to lose, and then he left. I can remember people saying before the game against Man City that if he loses, he's going to be shown the exit doors after that one. But then he wasn't sacked. But right now, I think he just had to leave. The disrespect was too much. I think he was pressured into leaving. Madrid is a huge political club.
And of course, the man who actually replaced him, Abelua, do you think he's going to actually turn things around?
Well, there's a big task ahead of him, but I'm very, very sure he's going to face the same problem that Xabi Alonso faced with this Real Madrid side. Majority of the players are definitely not going to be on his side. That is one of the reasons why Xabi Alonso has to leave.
Of course, from the capital or the heart of Spain to already, of course, the heart of the UK and the heart of England. One tournament, the oldest tournament in the world, the FA Cup. The road to Wembley is getting more interesting as the draws for the oldest football tournament were made yesterday. As we look forward to who will replace Crystal Palace as champions? There are lots to actually talk about when that draws actually came up. But let's look at the draws, on the screen, and also let's talk about, the pairings. I mean, looking at the teams that qualified already, of course, Liverpool already defeated Barnsley in that particular one, so it's going to be Liverpool against Brighton Hove. But let me ask you, looking at the pairings, which of these games, I'll just be asking you, I just need a straight answer. Which of these games is going to be an easy road, for, either of the sides from this pairing?
Yeah, well, I think Man City have always got easier run, and they're going to be facing, I think, Sweden or Oldham. I think it's a very, very easy one for Man City. So they're definitely through to the next round, in my opinion.
So which is going to be the one that you say easy to call?
I already spoke about the Manchester City game. I already said it. I think Manchester City.
I mean difficult to call.
Oh, okay, the difficult one to call. Yeah, I think it's going to be the Aston Villa Newcastle game. I think the Aston Villa Newcastle game is definitely very going to be a tough one.
So which of these fixtures are we looking at? A fixture that is going to produce likely upset?
Well, likely upset. I don't know. Maybe Liverpool against Brighton. Yeah, I think Liverpool against Brighton. Brighton might just get the better of Liverpool. Yes, I think so.
So in this round, which of these teams are we looking at as the potential dark horse?
Dark horse now. Interestingly, maybe Marcus Feed. Marcus Feed will beat the defending champions. Now they're up against Brentford. So I think that if you can beat Crystal Palace, you can also do it against certain Marcus Feed. But we should also forget Grimsby Town as well, who beat Manchester United in the EFL Cup. They're up against Wolverhampton Wanderers now, and Wolves are definitely a beatable opponent.
So which do you categorize as a Cinderella team that might actually go all the way?
Yeah, maybe a team that could do what Crystal Palace did last time out.
You said what?
I said Sunderland. Okay. Maybe.
Yeah, Sunderland has really been showing, they've got some very huge tricks in their bag. But let's move away from football entirely and go straight to boxing, as the Nigerian Boxing Federation has revealed plans to conduct open trials for boxers as part of selection process for the national team heading to 2026 Commonwealth Games. The trials will be accessible to pugilists across all weight categories, with specifics regarding the date and venue to be disclosed once logistics arrangements are completed. Honorable Omoli Imadu, Vice President of the NBF, just talking about Nigerian Boxing Federation, emphasized that the selection process will be transparent, credible, and merit-based. He assured athletes that they would have equal opportunities to secure position on the team. And of course, he said, and I quote, "I make bold to say that the days of impunity in the selection process for international competitions are over." And of course, he said, "We have put a lot of mechanism in place to actually ensure that every athlete is given a fair chance to make the final shortlist." I mean, talking about boxing, we've got huge boxers that are doing so well outside the shores of Nigeria. We can talk about the likes of Okole, talk about Ifeanyi Jagba, talk about Ituama, talk about, the world already know him, Anthony Joshua. Why is it that we really, really struggle with this framework, talking about what Imad is talking about for the MBF? Is it going to change things locally? Are we going to see the very best of pugilists come out of the country? How much of this particular reform will change the boxing world for the country?
Yeah, well, we are looking forward to that. We are hoping that we get to produce fantastic boxers. In times past, I think boxing is always one of Nigeria's strong sports. But then the story have changed in the past few years. Right there, we have not even been able to pick up medals from boxing like we always do before. I think the federation, there's a lot of work in their hands. They need to do a whole lot to make sure that they actually produce credible boxers. And just like they said that they hope that they are assuring that this process will be transparent. I think that is the first step. If the process is transparent enough, then we are able to produce very good boxers. And I think training and exposure, these are one of those things that some of these federations actually lack, some of these boxers actually lack. If they're able to get all of this, I think we'll be able to return to the glory days. Like I said, providing transparency to make sure that we produce credible boxers, then the training needs to be top-notch. And we should make sure that they are also exposed to international competitions.
And of course, away from boxing, let's wrap up with that as Luke Littler I don't know if that guy is actually little anymore. The two-time World Dart Championship winner has secured a groundbreaking £20 million deal with Target Dart, referring his title as sport. Of course, the historic contract for the 18-year-old darting sensation who recently made headlines by winning the first £1 million prize at the World Championship has renewed his contract with the dart supplier for a duration of 10 years. The deal includes potential earnings and bonuses, along with a percentage of sales for products and equipment, marketing, and of course, the most lucrative contract in dart history. Supported by Dart, of course, Target has delivered in me one day, and of course this is a lot to actually wrap around. In the world of that, £20 million, I mean, I can wrap my head around a lot of sports in this country that cannot even make up to £1 million, and these sports are way more popular than that. Man, tell me what it makes of the man. I don't want to call him Little, but of course, unfortunately, that's his name, Littler. Of course, he's 18 years old and £20 million in his pocket.
Yeah, well, I think he's going to dominate the world of that. I think he's going to dominate until he's very tired. Someone that is 18 and doing all of these stuff, I think he's here to definitely stay. He's the current youngest world champion in that. He won that one, I think, when he was 17. The current world #1, 2 PDC World Championship in 2025 and 2026. I think he deserves everything that he's getting right about now. He's dominating that one. I think he's going to do that for a very long time. I think it's the best. It's the best around the particular sport and at this particular point in time, and that is why he's enjoying all of the benefits that are coming from it right now. Yes, it's something that you cannot deprive him of. I think he has earned it. Yes, he has earned it, and I think there is still more for him to be earned right there. I think maybe this would open a lot of people's eyes to this sport as well. Maybe not only football, basketball. Now seeing people make money from that, like maybe we know that maybe there are some other sports that are very lucrative as well. So I think that is another angle that we should be looking at this point in time.
Thank you very much, Pelumi, and that's exactly where we'll be wrapping up to this episode of the Sport Republic. It's good to have you join me this morning.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
All right, of course, one day we'll be mentioning or talking about, the greatest dart players. Definitely Luke Littler. Maybe he won't be little anymore at that point. We'll talk about him definitely. And that's exactly where we'll be drawing the curtain on today's episode of the show. Do well to actually join Sport Republic tomorrow as Kizike, the voice of the mark, will be here to do it himself. And of course, later this evening, do not forget to actually join Locker Room, because that's exactly where you get the most informed breakdown analysis of football show. Of course, up next is definitely News Hour. Of course, you want to call it the media news. And I am Ikechukwu Agwago. Stay tuned.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space. bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories. From missing funds to policy failures, we ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
My name is Michel Dela. I'm the Consul General of the Netherlands in Lagos. Keep watching VOP, Voice of the People TV.
I'm Sarah Nystrom from Sweden, aka Chief Omobawale, Communication Queen. Keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, I'm Samantha Jacobs, representing the States. Miami's in the house. And I want to make a shout out to VOP TV. I'm a humanitarian, and I'm also a rep in the film industry and the art industry. I help dreams come true, and I help you keep on that path. Shout out to VOP TV because you're helping people stay on their path too. Cheers.
All right, my name is John Odibo. Keep watching Voice of the People because it's a fantastic station to be with all the time. Thank you very much.
My name is Pastor Elvis Siru, the convener of the Voice Achievers Award, and keep watching VOP. Yes, that is the channel for all the people. No color, no race. Thank you so much.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, this is Abasunkan from the Netherlands. I am a designer and I'm here in Eco Hotel and Suits. Keep watching VOP, the voice of the people. Don't touch that dial.
My name is Dr. Tony Bello. I am the chairman of Shine Bridge Global Incorporated. And guess what? You are watching the Voice of the People television.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs the voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
2564 is coming up on Burning 9 right.
The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues, on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
The 2564 is coming up on Burning 9 right.
The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
On Edu Dialogue, we bring you fresh ideas and conversations shaping the future of learning in Nigeria and beyond.
In a world where power shifts with every headline,
In a nation full of questions.
in a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, The grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People television, where your health has a voice.
I'm Mr. Familoni, and here is to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not
Welcome and welcome to the Midday News on Voice of the People television. I am David Edwin. First, the headlines. Federal government meets KPMG officials amid new tax reforms controversy. Atiku, PDP, CUPP condemn crackdown on dissent ahead of 2027 elections. Bandits kill 5 in fresh attack in Benue community. Burantai says military's internal security role with police. Falana demands detained officers release or trial. NOA warns Nigerians to take precaution. In business, customs unveils new regulatory framework for career firms. In sports, 2027 AFCON preliminary round draw set for Tuesday. In the world of entertainment, Rema, Burna Boy, Charlie Poppy, others win big. Now the news in full. The federal government has met with KPMG officials in Abuja to address concerns over Nigeria's new tax laws, which have sparked intense debate within the business and professional community. KPMG Nigeria had expressed concerns over aspects of the laws, including taxation of shares, dividend treatment, and foreign exchange deductions, warning they could affect businesses and taxpayers. The firm called for a review, citing errors, inconsistencies, gaps, omissions, and lacunae. The Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee Chairman Taiwo Oyedele defended the Nigerian Tax Act, stating KPMG misunderstood the reform. However, NRS Executive Chairman Zach Adeliji clarified concerns and KPMG expressed regrets over misunderstandings. Both parties acknowledged interpretation differences contributed to taxpayer confusion and agreed on sustained dialogue to address emerging issues. Meanwhile, food prices remain a major concern for many Nigerians, especially market traders who say basic staples are still too expensive. Despite slight reduction in the cost of rice and other items, sellers and consumers say more must be done to make food affordable and reduce poverty. Voice of the People TV's Matthew Oguswada reports from Daliko Market.
Third week of the new year, and economic activities are gradually picking up across major markets in Lagos State. Following the holidays, many markets experienced a slowdown as traders and buyers took time to return. However, indications here at the Daliko market suggest that activities are slowly returning, although not without challenges.
I am at the Daliko market in Mushin, one of the busiest hubs for food production in Lagos State, to assess the level of business resumption after the New Year's celebrations.
To get a clearer picture of the situation on ground, I spoke with traders to understand when they resume business, how trading has been so far, and how this period compares with the same time last year.
You see, in this market, there is no price control because we are all wholesalers.
we buy from different vendors and we bring it here to sell it at our own opinion price. So there is no price control here. There's no price control, and the price that we sell it in December is the same way we sell it in this January here. Now the price has not even go down or go up, it's still the same thing.
nǹkan tá a fẹ́ níbi ọ̀rọ̀ ráìsì làwọn ń tà a fẹ́ kí gbogbo nǹkan kó lẹ́ẹ̀kí ráìsì di 20,000 àtọwọ́ kẹ́fìtì kan nàìjíríà ní jíjẹ kó lẹ́sẹ̀ oúnjẹ ní kókó tó jẹ́ wá ti tọ́nu ìṣẹ́bùṣe nǹkan tá a fẹ́ nìyẹn. láàsì ata ráìsì 52,000 53 yìí ní oṣù yìí sìn àti ń ta 50,000 51,000 so kò tí sí difference kó di 20,000 òun la fẹ́.
òní last year a ṣì ta 52 55 all depends lórí nǹkan tí customer bá béèrè. We have long grain and we have short grain. Now à ń ta 50,000 a dẹ̀ ń ta 49,500 so all depends lórí nǹkan tí customer bá béèrè.
kò síbi tẹ́ máa dé kí ìjọba jẹ́ kó ń jẹ́ pọ̀ náà ni tó ń jẹ́ bá ti kó òun ìṣẹ́kù díẹ̀ o irú rice tá a tà ní ọdún ní last year ní ká sọ pé last year ni irú price yẹn àtàrí kí ni nǹkan tá a fi tàrí pé ó wálẹ̀ kò wọ́n jara lọ oníkálukú rà wọ́n gbádùn ẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n kó túbọ̀ wálẹ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn lọ.
The Dalicon market also extends to the automobile industry as traders within this industry share their expectations as the new year begins.
On our own, my own line precisely, which is motor spare parts. You know, it is normally we buy with exchange rate. Before the spare parts or anything, buying with exchange will come down. It must be as a result of exchange rates. When the exchange rate comes down, automatically the spare parts and other things that we import will normally come down. Also in food stuff, because I almost closer to the Dalicon market here, where they sell food stuff, rice and gari and other beans. Mostly the price system, understand? Before things will get down a bit, like food stuff, will be as from next month or next 2 months. March precisely.
And like before, like as from last 2-3 years ago, the part I used to sell about like 80 tana, 70 tana. But now this year I sell 120, 130. The original one. So now, like other customers say that it's too cost them to buy. So I said it's not my fault. It's the importer that used to import it from abroad increase it for us. That is the reason why we are selling it at that price. So, but for me, for my own prayer, I pray government to lower our income so that the price will now come down, so that it will be easy then to buy.
From Dalicon market, traders say activities are gradually picking up in the third week of the year, although rising cost and low purchasing power continue to affect business. While urging the government to address inflation, many traders are hopeful that the weeks ahead will bring better patronage and improved market conditions. Matthew Okunswada, reporting for Voice of the People Television.
Well, thank you so very much, Matthew, for that report. In other developments, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and the Coalition of United Political Parties (CUPP) have expressed concerns over the alleged tightening of Nigeria's democratic space, warning that sustained crackdown on dissent could undermine the credibility of the 2027 general elections. Atiku cautioned that Nigeria risks heading into the next election circle under a climate of fear and repression, stating that no election can be free or fair where citizens and opposition voices are routinely intimidated. This follows the arrest of Abubakar Salim Musa, a young Nigerian whose detention was disclosed by Amnesty International Nigeria. The PDP and CUPP echoed Atiku's concerns, describing Nigeria's democracy as being under siege. They called for the immediate release of Musa and other detained for exercising their constitutional rights. Moving on, suspected bandits have killed 5 persons, including the former House of Assembly candidate Igabe Ochi, in an attack on Otobi community in Otukpo local government area of Benue State. The attack occurred around 1:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning, following a fraud kidnapping attempt on Sunday night. The community has been targeted by suspected headsmen with previous attacks, claiming 13 lives on April the 15th, 2025, and 3 more in May 2025. The Benue State Police Command has yet to comment on the incident, but a member of the Benue State House of Assembly representing Otukpo Akwa State constituency, Kennedy Ango, has called for increased security measures, citing ongoing threats to the community. Meanwhile, former Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tuko Burantai has warned that the military's increasing involvement in internal security duties is weakening the Nigerian police force and other civilian security agencies. Speaking at the 2026 Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day lecture in Abuja, Burantai said the military's widespread presence across the country is eroding the growth and effectiveness of the police and internal intelligence institutions, which should lead internal security operations. According to the former Army Chief, military personnel are currently deployed nationwide, including in the Federal Capital Territory, in support of internal security duties. He added that these provide short-term stability, but undermines the capacity of civilian security agencies in the long run. Moving on, there are reports that says rising insecurity in Ekpoma is sparking concerns across Edo State following weekend protests over kidnapping in the university town. In Benin City, residents fear the situation could spread if urgent action is not taken. Voice of the People TV's Rhoda Johnny in Benin City says residents are calling for stronger security to protect lives and property in this report.
The weekend protest by youth and residents in Ekoma over rising cases of kidnapping has continued to generate reactions across Edo State, with residents of the state capital expressing concern over the worsening security situation in the university town. In street interviews, respondents described the Ekoma situation as alarming, warning that the web of insecurity is creating fear and could spread to other communities if urgent action is not taken.
The ex-military men, ex-policemen, those people that have retired, they should ask them questions. Because most of the kidnapping going on, you will just hear after the police checking point, you will see they will kidnap. After the police checking army point, you will see they will kidnap. So they have to do a thorough investigation of those ex-servicemen.
What they are experiencing in Ekpoma is too bad. The kidnapping is too much. These terrorists, they don't know anywhere. We are bad to ourselves. If I'm in my village now, anybody that comes, I know my village people. They collaborated with all these people. They take ransom from them. They show them road. After ransom, or they go and pay homage to these people. That is all we are lacking now. We are killing ourselves.
The government is trying, but they cannot be using insecurity to fight insecurity. The government itself, Senator Modokebo, have tried to fight insecurity. As far as Edo Central and Edo North per se, it's not much in Edo South. But what they have done is not expected of such a students who are mature. You are correct, because if you don't stay here, nobody will say there you are. Because the people there, it seems, I don't know, I can't fish out them, I cannot suspect them, but everybody there is a suspect. Actually, it cannot be happening Ekpoma every now and then. So I don't know. They should at least appreciate the governor for now. That's what I mean.
The governor has assured that measures are being taken to tackle the menace and strengthen security in Ekpoma and surrounding communities.
We have been doing a lot. And before this ugly situation happened, we had planned something. Security is secret, and I'm not supposed to say it to anybody, and we are still going to carry it out. These people will leave our forest if they are there. Ekpoma, Ishan will not be a safe place for them. We will leave no stone unturned. We have technology. The first one we carried out was very successful. The next day, they came up with sentiment, protest, looting. This is not acceptable. We must make sure that we bring these people to book.
Rhoda Johnny, VOP TV News.
Meanwhile, Abini High Court has remanded 52 individuals, including students of Ambrose Ali University in the Ubiaja Correctional Center, for malicious damage and armed robbery. The individuals were charged after they were accused of participating in a peaceful protest over insecurity that turned violent on Saturday. The suspects were arraigned by Police Counsel P.O. Odion through an ex parte motion. However, many of the arrested students said they were not part of the protest. Justice William Aziagbemi, who presided over the case, cited lack of jurisdiction and advised the defendants' counsel to file bail application at the Ubiaja High Court. The case has been adjourned to February the 26th, 2026 for hearing. Moving on, human rights lawyer Femi Falana has raised concerns over the prolonged and continued detention without a formal charge of the over 40 military officers alleged of coup plot against President Bola Tinubu in October 2025, while still denying them access to legal counsel, stating that they were presumed innocent until proven otherwise by the state, asking the federal government and military authorities to release or formally arraign them. Falana stressed that while he opposed any unconstitutional attempt to overthrow the government, the law requires that if there is evidence of their involvement in the coup plot, they should be arraigned before a special court-martial or general court-martial in accordance with the relevant laws. According to reports, about 16 senior military officers are being interrogated over the allegation, even though the Nigerian military has denied the coup report, claiming that the arrests were part of a routine exercise to address indiscipline and service breach. Also, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, affirmed the government's confidence in the military, dismissing the coup reports as false and praising the armed forces for their commitment to national security. Meanwhile, the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development plans to expend 91.7 billion naira on capital projects out of its total allocation of 97.077 billion naira for the 2026 fiscal year. According to the ministry's budget estimates, the renewed Hope Housing Scheme was allocated 8.05 billion naira, while 3.7 billion naira was earmarked for the ongoing national housing program across the country. Other projects covered by the capital allocation includes the construction of prototype housing units in Suleja in Niger State and Ikorodu in Lagos State, for which 2.1 billion naira was approved. Also proposed, among others, is 1.6 billion naira for the inner roads and building infrastructure for the Ladoke Akitola University of Technology, LAUTECH, as well as solar power provision and connection to selected flood-ravaged areas in Itire, Nguyen, Olude Okuta in Lagos State. In another development, the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, says the total rehabilitation of the third mainland bridge in Lagos will cost 43 billion naira and an additional 2.5 billion naira for its closed-circuit television camera, that's a CCTV center. Umahi, who spoke to newsmen in Lagos, disclosed that the scope of work covered total rehabilitation of 2 carriageways of 14 kilometers by 14 meters width. He explained that the work also includes rebuilding and repainting some concrete works and replacing expansion joints and installing solar lights. According to him, the establishment of the CCTV center was part of the bridge rehabilitation contract. He stated that at the inception of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration in 2023, the government met the third mainland bridge, Kata Bridge, and Ido Bridge in terrible state on the pavement, surface, infrastructure above and below the water. Just to watch the media news right here on Voice of the People Television. We'll go straight to the analysis segment of the news. And joining us now to make sense of these stories and more in the studio with us is Barrister Darlington Agumo Barrister Darlington is a legal practitioner right here in Nigeria and also a public and political affairs analyst. Barrister, a very good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, David, and how are you?
I'm fine, very well, thank you. How are you doing as well?
I'm okay.
All right, then we have also joining us virtually is Ismail Ogunshola Oladare. Ismail is a public affairs analyst and former House of Assembly candidate under the AAC. Mr. Ismail Oladare, thank you so very much for joining us, and good afternoon to you as well.
Yeah, good afternoon, David, and everybody, and thanks for having me again.
Thank you so very much. Well, let me start off with you, Mr. Oladare. Interestingly, the federal government has clearly stated in figures how much it will cost to install the CCTV center and also the rehabilitation work. Plus, again, interesting part of the conversation is that a total rehabilitation of the third mainland bridge in Lagos would cost about 43 billion naira and an additional 2.5 billion naira for the closed circuit television camera center. That's the CCTV camera center that is also going to be inaugurated also in Lagos. First off, I want to find out from you, what's your position with this kind of development, particularly in the fact that, yes, this rehabilitation is clearly a work that has taken a bit of toll on some Lagos residents, particularly on the fact that the rehabilitation, 2 carriageways of 14 kilometers by 14 meters width is what we're talking about here, that will gulp these amounts of money that I mentioned earlier. What's your position with this development?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think in all honesty, it's a good development that, even though it's coming decades late, but it is still a good development, right? Because in 2026, we shouldn't just be talking about camera on our highways now. I mean, this should have been something we've done many years ago. But then it's never too late. But the problem has always been that after the end of the said contract, will they be able to achieve what they are proposing? And, your guess is as good as mine. And I believe that every other Nigerian too will also have that sentiment that it is most likely not, going by the fact that, we've had many promises of such from these governments and the ones before there over the years. And at the end of the day, they don't deliver. And when they deliver these projects too, they deliver subpar. So from the government that is giving out the contract, to the contractors that are carrying out this project, and to the agencies that are in charge of monitoring and supervising, they failed Nigerian people over the years in terms of world standard infrastructural development. Okay. So we hope that this one won't be another case of abandoned project or a project that was delivered subpar. Well, we'll keep looking.
Well, I'm still going to stay with you, Mr. Oladare. One conversation that has been ongoing is the fact that, yes, the minister also laid out figures, and that clearly was, of course, speaking to credibility of how much will be expanded on this rehabilitation of the third mainland bridge. But the question that a lot of persons have been asking again would be, will the Works Ministry also publish the full bill of quantities, unit costs for joints, concretes, lights, and of course the CCTV hardware, softwares as well? So Lagosians can also verify that, of course, the 43 billion naira plus, of course, the 2.5 billion naira matches market realities, because sometimes you see these bogus figures and we kind of wonder, is it the same CCTV that some persons are selling in the market that we're talking about, or something else? What's the position with this fact that these questions are being asked by some Nigerians, clearly stating that will the ministry also publish the full bill of quantities in terms of unit cost of the joint and, of course, concrete and, of course, the lighting as well?
Yeah, of course. I don't have problem with Nigerians asking that question. It's just that some of us are tired of all those questions every now and then. Because I'm very sure, we are very, very sure, And this has been the case over the years for every kilometer of road they've been constructing, even the still ongoing coastal road. You know, it has always been times 4 of the real amount that is required to do all this road. This one they are calling for the 3 billion now. Don't be surprised that it might not even take up to 20 billion to construct that road, right? But then these are things that we don't even pay attention to again, because we know that it is their stock in trade. That's what they do all the time and time again. But the problem therein is also that even after inflating these figures, this budget, they still don't deliver the said project. And for people like me, that's exactly where the problem lies. I mean, a lot of people might even forgive you if you pad the budget, if you inflate the price, but you deliver quality and solid work.
So you still have a problem with the fact that it might not be delivered?
Of course, they don't deliver, even when they collect times 3, times 4, even times 10 of the required amounts. They still don't deliver. And for me, that's where the problem really lies. Although I don't have a problem with people asking for the figure, even though we know that they won't give you the figure. And over the years, when we ask about these figures, what they will tell you is you are not an engineer, you don't know,
Interesting.
But then
one day.
people should ask, yeah.
Okay, let's bring this conversation back to the studio. Barrister, the Minister of Works clearly stating our figures. And one interesting part of this conversation was the fact that the minister also mentioned that at the inception of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration in 2023, the government met the Third Mainland Bridge, the Carter Bridge, and of course the Edo Bridge in this terrible state. Of course, making those bridges inevitable for rehabilitation. What's your position with the fact that the presidency, because here the Minister of Works is also speaking on behalf of the presidency, stating that they met these bridges in a terrible state, the 3 bridges in Lagos?
It is not true. It is not true. If you want to do amendment, that does not say that everything is bad or everything has collapsed. By the way, what is the meaning of that reference? Infrastructure has to be maintained all over the world.
Okay.
So what is the strange about maintaining a bridge whose alignment is no longer, solid and all that? I don't see how that is coming up, telling us that you met what? So other things we met on ground, what happened to them? This economy was number 1 before APC took over. What happened to that number 1? That number 1 is now number 4. Why can't they give examples of what they bet? Why can't they give examples of the very good things they met on ground? And gullible Nigerians now will run with it. You see why they are going into infrastructural development, David. That is the easiest way to make money. When Fashola was the governor of this state, he never had any commissioner of works because himself and Tinubu was dragging it after Aregbesola left. The easiest way to eat government money is through infrastructure, roads, all these things that is the best and easiest way. And so when they are doing all those things, it's not for your own interest. So.
Now, Barrister, in one word, are you kind of aligning with our virtual girls who also said that sometimes even these figures are being over bloated, but yet they are not completing the project?
That is what I'm telling you. Abandoned projects as at today, APC was able to at least say it. Abandoned project, we are looking at over 3 to 5 trillion naira. Was money not paid for those projects? That is why one project is awarded more than 10 times. Because when the government comes, they will collect the money for that project and then walk away. Another government will come, the same project, like Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. Look at how long they've been building that road. Look at how long. These are the issues. So I'm not amused when they say somebody is constructing road. Let them give us the accurate amount of money they are spending on those projects. For us to know. for us to know if they are actually telling us the truth. That is the easiest way, the easiest avenue to chop money.
Well, Barrister, some will want to say at this point rehabilitation is also needed on some of these bridges. I mean, would you want to concur to that as well?
Yes, I said it here, all over the world. All over, maintenance is key. But the question is, at what cost? David, the ICC Center in Abuja was constructed at the cost of 200 and something million. By the time Wike finished rehabilitation, they didn't lay any foundation, they didn't start any reconstruction, just to, maintain it and then put a few things here and there, like the AC and the ties. That was what Wike now spent 39 billion.
But don't you think the cost of equipment are much more exorbitant than what we have?
With the equipment, I don't understand. Even the
prices of things, Barrister, the price of things have skyrocketed. Is it visible?
That is not the reason why.
So what do you think is the reason, Barrister?
That is where to chop money. Yes, I just told you here. That is the avenue to eat money. That is it. Like this project they did at ICC at Abuja. Engineering experts, people who know about construction, is telling me today that the rehabilitation of that place cannot take up to 5 billion. No matter what they want to put there, no matter. It cannot cost up to 5 billion naira if things are properly done.
Well, still talking about reconstruction and, of course, building. The Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Barrister, is planning to spend 91.7 billion naira on capital projects out of its total allocation of 97.077 billion naira for the 2026 fiscal year. Now, interestingly, Barrister, the ministry, budget estimates the renewed Hope Housing Scheme, which was, of course, allocated at 8.05 billion naira. And, of course, 3.7 billion naira was earmarked for the ongoing National Housing Scheme. Now, the question now would be, how many habitable title units will the 91.7 billion capex actually deliver in 2026?
Nothing will be done. David, nothing will be done.
Why are you so strong in your belief?
Because of past experience. Somebody has cheated you once, twice, third time, fourth time, fifth time, and you are still expecting that he will change. How can he change? Since that is the avenue of making money for him. No, tell me. How can he change? I told you that is the easiest way of making money by government. That's why the due process office, they have closed it down. The office the Obasanjo created and handed over to what is that her name? Ezekwesili. Madam Due Process. Is that not true? Where every contract is vetted and Did you hear of such a thing again?
All right, Barrister. Before I go to my virtual guest, interestingly, Falano SAN has also asked that the army takes these people who they believe were, according to them, coup plotters, take them to court rather than have them in detention without doing anything. But of course, the army have said that, look, this is a normal process that, is being carried out. It has nothing to do with school. These are just people who have gone through a process that they, in their words, clearly are being interrogated for part of the disciplinary service of the army. What's your position with this?
I disagree with them. You see, one of the things about this government and all the institutions that are working under this government, I think when they came in, all of them were tutored on how to tell lies. All of them. From from the executive to the military to a national assembly.
You think the army is lying with this statement?
Hold on, I'm coming. When this news broke, David, what was the first thing they told us? That some people wanted to carry out coup and all that. All of a sudden, the silver, Tinubu'S silver they were looking for, they now turned into money laundering. Meanwhile, his house was ransacked. Oh. They cordoned all the place. So they have taken over the house. And, then two, Christopher Musa, who was said to have leaked the coup and all that, was, released or shown the way out, the military.
And later brought back.
And later, the same man was brought out as the Minister of Defense. David, please, how do you add all these things together?
Now, Barrister, with these conversation that we are getting right now, in maybe 10 seconds, is it possible that the lacuna between government and the people when it comes to trust deficits can ever be closed? Because the military is saying these guys are clearly brought out for indiscipline and, of course, service breach. But on the other hand, the Femi Falana SAN is saying that these are guys who were picked because they were involved in the alleged coup that was forwarded by the military. How do we bridge this gap of information?
No, maybe when another government come in, but this particular one, they were founded on the what? On the foundation of lies and deceit and propaganda. And so, even when you build a house with such a thing, lies, fraud, propaganda, lies, so the house is still there and you are living there. So that means until you leave office, that thing will follow you. Maybe when another government comes back, we may have a change.
All right then.
But this one, the foundation is bad. So I'm not expecting anything good.
All right then, Mr. Ladari, quickly, let's have your position also on this particular matter. The army is saying as it stands, these guys were just taken for indiscipline. And of course, Femi Falana is saying, look, even if prosecute these guys rather than keep them in detention and of course not making any of the family members get contact to them. What's your position with
this? Yeah, Bruce Femi Falana is quite right. Because we know that this government, whatever they say, if they tell you that it is morning, you have to quickly go and outside to check by yourself, because you can't even rely on whatever they say, especially regarding a coup against their own government. So we talked to many officers, and we've seen many officers come outside in time past to say that they've been trying for mutiny, they've been doing homely disorderly for them and all of those things for different things. And you even see officers that when they complain about any wrongdoings of their superior officers, what follows is detention. So this has always been the case with security agencies, and it's quite sad. At the same time, Barrister Falana is right. If you want to try them, try them. Stop keeping them perpetually.
All right, then. Thank you so very much, Mr. Ismail Ogunshola Oladari, Public Affairs Analyst and former House of Assembly candidate under the AAC. Thank you so very much for being a part of
Thank you for having me.
News Analysis. Thank you so very much. Also, Barrister Darlington Agomo is a legal practitioner right here in Nigeria and also a public and political affairs analyst and commentator. Barrister, thank you so very much for being here.
It's my pleasure.
We'll take a very short break right now. When we return, more stories on the media news will be up next. Please do stay. Glad to have you back. It is still the media news right here at Voice of the People Television. Now to more stories. The National Orientation Agency has warned Nigerians to be cautious amid the current dusty weather, an extreme form of air pollution that poses risk, including reduced lung function and respiratory infections. The agency advised the public to take severe precautions, wear nose masks, drink plenty of water, cover food and water wash fruits thoroughly, and stay indoors, especially the elderly. The situation may persist, and Nigerians are urged to stay safe and share the information with others. The warning is coming amid concerns over the impact of air pollution on public health. And in Lagos, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and residents of Lagos State have mourned the passing of the paramount ruler of Badagry Kingdom, Oba Babatunde Akran, who died at the age of 89 during a brief illness. The death of the monarch and was also the permanent vice chairman of the Lagos State Council of Obas and Chiefs marked the end of a 48-year reign, making him one of the longest-serving traditional rulers in Lagos State. According to the palace, traditional burial rites commenced after medical experts pronounced him dead. In a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Boyega Akosile, Governor Sanwo-Olu described Akran's passing as a significant loss to Badagry, Lagos State, and Nigeria in general, in view of his remarkable impact as a respected traditional ruler. According to the governor, the late monarch was known for his wisdom, courage, cultural preservation, development, advocacy, and selfless services. He commiserated with the people of Badagry and the bereaved family. Meanwhile, the driver has been arrested by the Airport Police Command in connection with a fatal hit-and-run incident that killed a 19-year-old pedestrian at Airport Bus Stop Ikeja, Lagos. The incident occurred on Friday involving an Ashok Leyland Lomata bus with registration number MUS 19139YL. Preliminary investigation revealed that the bus struck the victim shortly after she alighted and was heading towards the airport. The victim was confirmed dead on arrival at the hospital due to the severity of her injuries. The driver fled the scene but was tracked down through a coordinated manhunt with Lamata. The suspect, identified as Mr. Adewale Abiodun, has been taken into police custody and is making a statement. The Commissioner of Police Airport Command has reiterated that acts of negligence and reckless driving will not be tolerated. Moving on, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has reported that 33 persons lost their lives and another 33 sustained injuries in power-related accidents across the country in the third quarter of 2025. According to next quarter 3 2025 reports, a total of 57 power-related incidents were reported, with Ikeja and Kano electricity distribution areas recording the highest number of incidents. 10 accidents each. Ikeja reported 6 injuries and 4 deaths, while Kano reported 6 deaths and 4 injuries. Other affected areas include Abuja, Jos, Aba, Port Harcourt, Enugu, and Yola. The accidents were largely attributed to wire snaps, illegal access, vandalism, and unsafe conditions. And from that particular story, we'll go straight talking business, where the Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, has launched a new standard operating procedure, SOP, to regulate courier companies operating under the delivered duty paid regime. The SOP provides an unified framework for registration, manifest submission, declaration, valuation, clearance, delivery, and compliance monitoring, aligning with global best practices. The NCS says the framework aims to streamline courier operations and enhance custom control. The move is also expected to improve efficiency, transparency, and security in the courier industry. The service advised courier companies to familiarize themselves with the new SOP to ensure smooth operations. And from business to sports, where the Confederation of African Football (CAF) will conduct the draw for the preliminary round of the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON qualifiers today, marking the beginning of the qualification campaign. The draw will pair teams from Pot 1, which includes Lesotho, Burundi, Ethiopia, Eswatini, South Sudan, and Mauritius. And Pot 2 includes Chad, Sao Tome and Principe, Djibouti, Somalia, Seychelles, and Eritrea. The lower-ranked team will host the first leg. The 6 winners will advance to the group stage draw, joining Africa's top 42 ranked nations, including Nigeria, which is already seeded into the group stage. The 2027 AFCON will be co-hosted by Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. In the meantime, the 2025 African Cup of Nations has reached the preliminary stage, with Egypt, Senegal, Nigeria, and host nation Morocco securing their places in the last 4. That's the semi-final scheduled for Wednesday. In Wednesday's matches, Egypt will take on Senegal in Tangier, while Morocco, host nation, will lock horns with Nigeria in Rabat. The Atlas Lions are seeking the first continental title in 50 years, while the Super Eagles aim to claim their 4th African title. And to wrap up the media news, we go straight talking entertainment. Nigerian Afrobeat star Rema was the biggest winner at the 9th All African Music Awards AFRIMA at the Eco Convention Center in Lagos on Sunday, winning the Artist of the Year award, Best Male Artist in Africa, and Best African Artist in R&B and Soul. Other top winners includes Burna Boy for Album of the Year, Charlie Puppy's Lahore as Song of the Year, and Fino for Best African Hip Hop Artist. Regional and continental awards went to artists across Africa, including Cote d'Ivoire's Milo and Morija for inspirational music, Guinea's Namamba Kante for Africa's pop, and Nigeria's Queen Madi as most promising artist. And with that particular story,
it was all glitz and glamour at the 9th edition of the All African Music Awards, which kicked off in Lagos, Nigeria, from January 7th to January 11th, 2026, drawing Africa's music elite and global entertainment figures to celebrate the continent's creative talents. AFRIMA is a prestigious annual awards event that celebrates outstanding musical talents from across Africa. Originally scheduled for the late November 2025, the week-long event was rescheduled to January to ensure broad participation and a world-class experience, with support from the African Union Commission, the federal government of Nigeria, and the Lagos State government as hosts. The award ceremony was co-hosted by Nigerian rapper and actor Fawz the Bad Guy and French-Senegalese media personality Liliane Morne, bringing energy and flair to the red carpet and live broadcasts to audiences across Africa and beyond.
I expect Charlie Poppy to win. I expect Rema. I expect Davido. I expect even Wizkid to win for best choreographed video.
Yeah.
Davido to win best African collaboration. Burna Boy best album or best artist.
It's what I'm giving out that matters to me, because I want to show it to them that this is Africa.
Yes.
You know, I have a home advantage. People like 99% of your crowd knows your songs.
Yeah.
You give it to them fully.
Yeah.
That's it.
Great moment, great experience from all performers and nominees. You know, another moment to escalate or elevate African music to the world, and we're here for it. You know, shout out to all the media teams, all the bloggers who are carrying our messages outside of the continent into the world. So you don't know, AFRIMA 9th edition, I'm out here for it. I'm like a let's say like a pro of AFRIMA, you feel me? So some of us are here as enablers to the scheme, not only nominees, you feel me? Like having won 4 times in reggae dancehall category and being nominated right now as well. Our best African music is just like blessings, you know, to still be here and doing it and contributing to the to this effect.
Music is moving, music is evolving. You're seeing it. You saw it with what we did with No Turning Back, bring something like really old